Russia raining missiles on Ukraine, updates on the sale of Twitter for $44 billion, and a fatal shooting in Grand Rapids. I'm Lena Peterson with this week's news right now. Up next on WEEK News. We begin this week in Eastern Europe, where Ukraine's leader accused Russia of trying to humiliate the United Nations by raining missiles on Kyiv during a visit by Secretary General Antonio Guterres, an attack that shattered the capital's tentative return to normality as the focus of the war moved east. President Zelensky said Ukraine's forces were holding off Russia's attempted advance in the south and east as efforts continued to secure safe passage for residents trapped in the country, which has been largely reduced to rubble in a two-month-long siege. And speaking of paralyzed port cities, authorities are moving quickly to try to prevent a massive COVID-19 outbreak in Beijing that could trigger a citywide lockdown like the one that has paralyzed Shanghai for more than 3 weeks. The political stakes are high as the ruling Communist Party prepares for a major Congress this fall, at which the Chinese president is seeking a third 5-year term to reassert his position as China's unquestioned leader. And as an outbreak is suppressed, Elon Musk invests. Twitter said Monday it has agreed to sell itself to Elon Musk in a roughly $44 billion deal that has the potential to expand the billionaire's business empire and put the world's richest man in charge of one of the world's most influential social networks. The deal, which will take the company private, caps off a whirlwind period in which the Tesla and SpaceX CEO became one of Twitter's largest shareholders, was offered and turned down a seat on the board, and bid to buy the company, all in less than 1 month. And while we're on the topic of whirlwind approval and disapproval periods, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt signed a bill Tuesday explicitly prohibiting the use of non-binary gender markers on state birth certificates, a ban experts say is the first of its kind in the nation. The bill followed a flap last year over the Oklahoma State Department of Health's agreement in a civil case allowing a non-binary option. The birth certificate in that case was issued to an Oklahoma-born Oregon resident who sued after the agency initially refused the request. People who are non-binary do not identify with traditional male or female gender assignments. Welcome to This Week, where I share my opinions on the week's top stories. Please note that these views are my own and are not affiliated with WEEK or its representatives. I strongly condemn Governor Stitt's bigoted and deplorable bill prohibiting the use of non-binary gender markers for 2 primary reasons. First of all, discrimination against your trans identity, sex, and sex identity are protected by law and cannot be oppressed under a homophobic law such as this one. According to the Liberty Human Rights Organization, these identities are protected by the Human Rights Act of 1998. And secondly, this discriminatory measure is detrimental to the health of non-binary individuals. According to the National Library of Medicine, there is a high prevalence of and significant disparities within mental health of youth and adults who identify as non-binary or who are a part of the LGBTQ+ community due to discrimination. Ultimately, I strongly condemn Governor Stitt's bigoted and transphobic bill prohibiting the use of non-binary gender markers because every individual in this country deserves to be protected for who they are. That concludes Tuesday's segment of This Week, but be sure to tune in tomorrow for more of my daily opinions. From updates in deliberations to updates on an investigation. The officer who fatally shot Patrick Loyola during a traffic stop on April 4th previously had been praised for chasing suspects on foot during his time with the Grand Rapids Police Department. According to police records, 31-year-old Grand Rapids police officer Christopher Schur was routinely commended for his actions, receiving 16 different letters or certificates of recognition from Grand Rapids police leaders during his time in the department. And in Lansing, the governor's veto is changing the status quo. Governor Gretchen Whitmer on Friday vetoed legislation that would include information on an absentee ballot application informing a potential voter that it is a felony to vote more than once in the same election. Whitmer said in her veto letter that the bill is one of several that aim to restrict or chill access to the ballot, legislation that was not yet negotiated. The bill was supported by the Michigan Associations for County and Municipal Clerks. And in this week's weather, today is chilly with a high of 58 degrees and partly cloudy skies. That is all for today with WEEK News. I'm Lena Peterson. Thanks for tuning in and have a great rest of your week. I'm signing off.
The United Nations works to arrange civilian evacuation. Mask mandates are being put on hold on public transportation, and the history of Patrick Lyoya's killer is uncovered. All this and more coming up on WORK News. I'm your host, Alexa Vo, working through today's top headlines. We begin in Ukraine, where the United Nations doggedly sought to arrange an evacuation of civilians from the ruins of Mariupol on Friday. Meanwhile, Ukraine accused Russia of showing its contempt for the World Organization by bombing Kyiv when the UN leader was visiting the capital. The mayor of Mariupol said the situation inside the steel plant that has become the southern port city's last stronghold is dire, and citizens are begging to get saved. Working our way over to Palestine, Palestinian assailants shot and killed a security guard at the entrance of a Jewish settlement in the occupied West Bank late Friday. The fresh attack could further fuel Israeli-Palestinian tensions, which have soared in the past 2 months. The Israeli military said early Saturday that the attackers arrived at Ariel settlement entrance and shot the guard in his post before fleeing the scene. Clocking into news of the purchase of Twitter. Elon Musk has sold $8.5 billion worth of Tesla to help fund the purchase of Twitter. Musk reported the sales in filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission on Thursday and Friday. Analysts say the deal can make Tesla investors nervous that Musk, who is the electric vehicle maker CEO, will be distracted by Twitter and less engaged in running Tesla. As Elon Musk strays away from Tesla, so does mask mandates on public transportation. A majority of people in the United States continue to support a mask requirement for people traveling on airplanes and other shared transportation. A ruling by a federal judge has put the government's transportation mask mandates on hold. The poll by the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research finds that despite opposition to that requirement that included verbal abuse and physical violence against flight attendants, 56% of those surveyed favor requiring people on public transportation to wear masks. That brings us to today's segment of Vo's Voice, where I share my opinions. These views reflect my own and do not reflect those of WORK or its affiliates. In the midst of the pandemic, I have had to unfortunately watch my mother struggle with the coronavirus. Although we don't know exactly where she caught it from, there's a very good chance it came from public transportation. This brings me to completely condemn the mask mandate being put on hold for 2 primary reasons. First of all, it is easy to catch the coronavirus on public transportation. When someone sneezes or coughs, the COVID-19 germs and particles linger in the air for hours. Public transportation has a very enclosed airspace, making it much easier to catch the coronavirus. Secondly, wearing a mask will lessen that risk. The mask absorbs these droplets when we sneeze or cough. Wearing a mask provides the most protection possible in a small enclosed area such as a bus or airplanes. Thus, because it is easy to catch the coronavirus on public transportation and masks will help lessen that risk, I completely condemn the mask mandate being put on hold. That concludes today's segment of Vo's Voice, but feel free to join me tomorrow to hear more of my opinions. Commuting our way back home, records in the personnel file for the police officer who shot and killed Patrick Lyoya after a traffic stop earlier this month show 2 complaints from 2021 and several awards. One of the complaints led to coaching after backing into a vehicle, while the other complaint for allegedly breaking open a safe and taking items was not upheld by internal affairs. From one inside job to another, Republican lawmakers in Michigan want to prohibit student athletes who are transgender from participating in girls' sports by imposing a funding penalty through the statewide K-12 school budget. The GOP-controlled House Appropriations Committee approved the House school aid budget proposal in a vote along party lines this week. Taking a coffee break to look into the world of sports, the MLB suspends LA Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer for violating violence and sexual assault policy. Working our way into weather, tomorrow there's a 60% chance of rain, so make sure to grab your umbrella. That's all the time we have here today at WORK. Thank you so much for working with us today, and we'll see you tomorrow for more updates. I'm your host, Alexa Vo, signing off.
As the world continues to move towards internationalism, we must recognize the responsibility that we have as international citizens to prioritize elections that take place all over the world. Whether it's the French election that currently has taken place, with the re-election of the French President Macron, we must realize the potential impacts that this can have on unions that are important for both peace and prosperity. Unions that include the European Union, established following World War II, that acts as a collective promise to maintaining peace and prosperity throughout Europe. President Macron's previous role as the President of the European Union is under question with his re-election. So when I was asked the question today, does the re-election of French President Macron cement his position as President of the European Union? I answered yes, motivated by three primary reasons. The first being the important role that France plays in the dynamic relations with the United States. Second, Macron's views on diversity within the Union. And finally, his belief and commitment to the EU's independence. When discussing the power of the EU, we must discuss the dynamic relations that exist between the United States and the European Union. According to StateGov in September of 2021, 1/4 of the world's GDP stems from the dynamic trade relations that exist between the United States and Europe. Thus, the heavily prosperous industry must be maintained in order to achieve prosperity for Europe, one of the primary goals of the European Union. According to Politico in May of this year, the president has been able to move past the domestic conflicts that used to exist between France and the United States and essentially prioritize the shared goal of economic advantage. Macron's intents to patch these relations, highlighted in CNN's 2022 article, indicates his importance as one of the presidential members of the European Union. Trade representative in March of 2022 indicates that the industry and trade relations between the European Union and the United States is worth about $1.1 trillion, meaning that if President Macron lost his position as president, all of the European Union would be at risk of losing $1.1 trillion. And although that sum of money is incredibly important to maintain the economic prosperity of members of the European Union, another reason why Macron needs to be the president of the European Union can be examined through a look at diversity. According to the Washington Post in March of 2022, he highlights in February his intent to maintain diversity in a rather homogeneous European Union. In the past, the European Union encompassed a bunch of white males. Today, he hopes to include both females and members of the European Union that represent the colored diversity within Europe. The European Commission highlights an initiative that he started, known as People First, aimed to increase diversity within the European Union by prioritizing the people and its members. He hopes that the European Union is not only a reflection of what Europe hopes to become, but what Europe actually is in the diversity standpoint. Wilson Center in January of 2022, a European center dedicated to studying diversity as well as the role of minorities within Europe, states that his role in prioritizing diversity is one that is unprecedented when compared to past presidents of the European Union. So when we're looking at the interest of peace as well as prosperity and representation, it is incredibly prevalent that his presence as the president of the European Union is important to maintain these objectives. And while the objectives of diversity as well as maintaining economic relations within Europe and the United States are incredibly important, let's take a look at Macron's views on commitment and belief to EU's independence. According to the New York Times in March of 2022, his commitment to European sovereignty in light of the events taking place between Russia and Ukraine is incredibly important. There's no doubt that a war could be on the horizon, and he realizes that maintaining some form of independence in order to protect the interests of the 27 nations as part of the European Union is incredibly important. The Hill in February 2022 states that he has an ability to recognize fragile conditions within different parts of Europe and address them. He was able in the past year alone to encourage dynamic trade relations to exist between members of the European Union rather than external members. So let's take Germany, for example. A nation that really relied on oil trade with Russia is now relying on members of the European Union instead. These relations were catalyzed by the presence of President Macron as the primary leader of the European Union, who guided the different resources between the nations and thus limited trade with Russia. CNN in April 22nd states that he is the perfect balance between the commitment to internationalism by maintaining trade with the United States, but also a commitment to one another within the European Union to act as independents. He hopes that all members of the European Union will be able to engage in collective trade while also maintaining the $1.1 billion industry that they have with the United States, ensuring that all the resources necessary for any European nation would be at their disposal. And while the concept of internationalism is one that we must prioritize, we must also consider the study of different elections and the means through which they impact our world as a whole. As a diverse citizen myself, I recognize the impact of the elections that they have on the peace and state of our world as a whole. So I was asked the question today, does the re-election of French President Macron cement him as the current leader of the EU? I answered yes. Motivated by three primary reasons, being the important role that he plays in maintaining the dynamic relations with the United States and the European Union. Second, Macron's views on improving diversity within the European Union. And finally, his belief and commitment to the EU's independence. I believe that his commitment in the past year and the changes that he has implicated through programs within the European Union as president further cements his position as not only the president of France, but the president of the 27 nations that require a sense of peace and prosperity within Europe. Thank you.
When looking at the current crisis in Russia and the Ukraine, news in the United States often depicts things like battle strategies. Will Vladimir Putin launch an atomic bomb? Will World War III start? But what often isn't referenced is the 3,328,000 fleeing refugees from the country. This is according to USA Today. And who better to handle these refugees than the country that cannot get involved without starting a third world war, the United States. So, upon being asked how should the United States manage the coming Ukrainian refugee crisis? Well, by helping provide help and safety to the refugees first, and worrying about documentation later is the best way to ensure safety for those entering the country. This will happen in 3 phases. Firstly, opening borders as much as we possibly can to grant safe access into the United States. Secondly, focusing on temporary statuses instead of immigration visas or other things like immigration titles that are held for immigrants migrating from other places in different situations. And lastly, planning in advance how we will care for the refugees so this crisis can be averted entirely. Firstly, and most clearly, opening borders in the United States. CNN reports that during the Afghanistan crisis, immigrants who had not applied or had only started applying were granted access to the country for the reason of they could not fly into the United States to get safety at all if they did not have these immigration visas. But this has been closed off. CBS says that this needs to be opened once again so that Ukrainian refugees can come into the country and worry about their application later. These applications, according to ABC News, take an extremely long amount of time, ranging in the area of 3 months to 3 years on average. This is simply not safe. The third or second part of opening borders is taking away Title 42. Title 42 is a Trump-era policy that was created according to NYI, was created in 1913. Title 42 simply states that due to a contagious virus that exists globally, you can bar immigration simply for the reason of keeping out that virus. But when looking in the United States and all of the COVID policies that have been lifted,
Taking away Title 42, which has been barring immigrants for the past 2 years, is crucial when looking into this crisis, which is sending away thousands of people by the day. The second thing we need to focus on is not getting these people the statuses that Americans have in the United States, citizenship, or even immigration visas, because as stated previously, these take too long. But there is another option. Temporary statuses that are granted usually only in states of emergency, but have not been opened to Ukrainian refugees. Temporary statuses exist right now in the times of COVID for illegal immigrants currently inside the United States. According to ABC News, these temporary statuses, which went into act May 1st of 2020, say that illegal immigrants can work and stay within the United States for 18 months while waiting for a visa or other form of immigration status. But this only exists for immigrants already inside of the United States. So pushing it outward and granting temporary status not only allows Ukrainian refugees to enter the United States, but potentially allow their families to enter as well and create a work plan going forward to maintain their families and income when they want to leave or permanently reside here. Lastly is the planning to avoid this crisis entirely. The crisis does not exist yet, largely to the reason the borders are still closed, and largely to the reason temporary statuses are not something that are predominant. But if these things were to open up, then there would be floodgates of these 3 million refugees entering. So what do we do? Well, one thing we need to do is look to where they are coming in. Again, because of these visas, many are entering through Mexico and then going to the Mexico-United States border. So cities and towns around that area should be opening their doors while available. I'd like to point to the story of a New Jersey church, according to Elizera.com, who opened their church hall to provide shelter to refugees coming forward. Now, New Jersey's not exactly close to this border, but imagine what would happen if it was. If churches, banquet halls, schools, and homes were opened to people who needed them most, then there might actually be hope for the people who have lost everything in war going forward. With a combination of opening the borders to simply allow people inside, granting temporary statuses so they feel secure for at least 18 months with their work and income, and providing safe places to stay, this crisis can be inverted entirely if the United States is simply willing to take these 3 steps to ensure the safety of Ukrainian refugees. Thank you.
The United States was founded upon 3 guiding principles, that of freedom, limited government, and individual responsibility. It is absolutely essential that all United States citizens and our government act with these 3 guiding principles in mind. We must ensure that we are encouraging citizens to read whatever content they want, regardless of if one individual finds that content possibly offensive. We must encourage all people to explore all perspectives and take upon their individual freedom and responsibility to learn. When given the quote today that any book worth banning is a book worth reading, I interpret this to mean that books expose social issues within our society. We'll explore this concept through 3 different lenses today. First, we'll discuss how books that are banned expose public health issues. Then we'll discuss how they expose social issues and disparities. And finally, we'll discuss how banned books expose political corruption and the dangers of it. The first way we can interpret the idea of banned books exposing issues within our society is by exploring the issues relating to public health concerns that banned books could pertain to. We'll first begin by talking about The Jungle, which is a novel written by Upton Sinclair. Upton Sinclair was a journalist in the 1900s who wrote the novel The Jungle to expose the meatpacking industry within the United States. He wrote this novel as a journalistic entry to discuss the issues within the meatpacking industry and how the food that individuals were getting was neither safe nor healthy. While this book at first glance seems like it has no problem and it is essential for all people to understand where their food comes from, this novel was banned and challenged in many parts of the United States because people in charge did not want the citizens to find out the dangers associated with the meatpacking industry. While it was so essential for citizens to find this information out in order to make safe decisions about the types of food they eat and where they get it from, they were unable to do so. The second way that banned books expose issues within our society is by exploring how they discuss social issues and disparities. The Hate U Give is a novel written by Angie Thomas. This novel discusses a girl and her life experiencing police brutality and racism as a Black woman in America. The Hate U Give was written a few years back, and it is so essential and gives many people a perspective about a life that they may not live. However, The Hate U Give has been heavily challenged and banned in many countries and many states within the United States. Many people do not want others to uncover and see about the industries such as the police industry that are causing many dangers and safety concerns for Black people. However, it is so essential that we allow people to explore all ideas and really comprehend how many areas within the United States need to be improved upon. The third way we can explore the idea of banned books exposing issues in society is by discussing how banned books expose political corruptions and the danger of it. 1984 is a novel published by Upton Sinclair in 1949. This novel discusses the dangers of a totalitarian-style government. And while the United States is considered to be a democracy, therefore we should have no issue discussing totalitarian governments and the dangers of it, this novel was at the time and still is heavily challenged and banned in many states. 1984 exposes the dangers related to a totalitarian government, so it is so important that we consider why the motivations for this may be occurring and why certain individuals may be wanting to ban information relating to a totalitarian government. As United States citizens, it is crucial that we explore all issues that interest us, and we have the freedom and liberty to do so. So, the United States was founded upon three guiding principles, that of freedom, individual responsibility, and limited government. It is so essential that through all aspects of our lives, we adapt to this perspective and expectation and ensure that the information we are consuming allows us to live out those three guiding principles. When given the quote today that any book worth banning is a book worth reading, I interpret this to mean that banned books expose issues within our society. We discussed this concept through three different lenses today. First, we discussed how banned books relate and expose public health concerns. Second, we talked about how banned books address social issues and disparities that exist within our society. And third, we discussed how banned books expose political corruptions and explain the dangers of it. Thank you.
When I reflect upon my childhood, many of my fondest moments are surrounded by literature. I remember vividly reading books in public libraries or being read books by my parents before I went to sleep at night. And as I think about future generations, I hope that they can share those same memories because literature is so incredibly important. However, unfortunately, I have some doubts. So when I was given the prompt today, banning books gives us silence when we need speech. It closes our ears when we need to listen. It makes us blind when we need sight. I wholeheartedly agree that banning books is incredibly harmful to our society. And when we think about banning books, we can think that they are hurtful for three particular reasons. First of all, they are eye-opening. Second of all, they are informative. And third of all, they are comforting. And banning books prevents us to have these perspectives to our lives. Today, let's dive into those reasons why banning books is so harmful to our society. First, let's talk about how books can be eye-opening. When we look at one of the most banned books this year, we can look at The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas, which talks about police brutality from the perspective of a Black teenager. This Black teenager unfortunately witnesses her best friend being shot and killed by a cop. Of course, this brings a call to action to police violence and racism and discrimination that we still experience today. Without books like this, we wouldn't see society's problems and shed light on society's problems, which is problematic because if we're not aware of these problems from a personal level, how are we supposed to be expected to fix them? How can we possibly understand what the Black community experiences through police brutality if novels can't shed that light on their perspective?
Therefore, books should not be banned because many of the novels that are being banned are incredibly eye-opening, like The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. Next, let's talk about how books can be informative. Bringing it right back here to Michigan, pediatricians Dr. Lisa Klein and Dr. Carrie Leff wrote a book called Celebrating Your Body, which is an introduction to puberty, which serves as an incredibly helpful resource to young girls around America who are experiencing adolescence and puberty. This educates them about the changes in their bodies. And young girls who don't have resources like their parents and people and teachers that they can talk to might really need this resource in order to get through this hard time in their life. So books like Celebrating Your Body provides an informative perspective so that people can understand what they're going through. And if we don't provide books that are educational, like Celebrating Your Body, kids will resort to the internet, which could have false claims and many sources of fake news. Therefore, we should not ban books because they can be incredibly informative, just like Celebrating Your Body is. Lastly, let's talk about how books can be comforting. Many of the recent banned books deal with the LGBTQ community. And one of my favorite banned books, which is a comic book called Drama that many of us read in middle school, was banned simply because one of the characters in it was part of the LGBTQ community. This is really hurtful to young people who may be gay or figuring out their identity. Preventing children who are queer from reading books about queer people does not make them less queer. It makes them question if something's wrong with them, leaving them feeling isolated or alone. Therefore, books like Drama can make them feel comforted, like there is not something wrong with them, like being queer is normal, normalizing all different perspectives, races, ages, and sexuality. Therefore, books, and many of the banned books, are important to be accessible to society because they can provide comfort when we need it most. So when I was given the quote today, banning books gives us silence when we need speech. It closes our ears when we need to listen, and it makes us blind when we need sight. Shows just how important the books that are banned are to our society, as these books are crucial for us to grow and prosper as human beings. And we looked at that through 3 lenses. First, how books can be eye-opening. Next, how books can be informative. And lastly, how books can be comforting. And while all of these are incredibly true, I look at the younger generations who are going to come after me, and I pray that they will get those same experiences in public libraries. However, if we want that experience for young people, we must stop banning books so that they can find that call to action, education, and comfort in books. Thank you.
This is going to be the most boring info speech you have ever watched. Now, before you judge, it's only because today's topic is boredom, the feeling that sneaks up on us everywhere. On a lazy Sunday afternoon, grocery store checkout lines, maybe even as you watch my speech. It's okay though, it's normal. Boredom is a universal human experience. In fact, according to psychologist George Lostein from Carnegie Mellon University, the average American experiences boredom at least 130 days of the year, and the feeling is far more complex than we make it seem. So today, I'm going to bore you to death with the types of boredom, put you to sleep as we discuss boredom in the brain, and cause your mind to wander with boredom's positive and negative effects. So what exactly is boredom? Well, according to John Eastwood of York University, a bored person doesn't just have nothing to do. He or she wants to feel stimulated, but can't connect with their current environment. They have what Eastwood calls an unengaged mind. In a nutshell, boredom boils down to an unfulfilled desire for activity. But it's not just being bored. It's what kind of boredom we're experiencing that has researchers intrigued. A research team led by psychologist Thomas Goetz at the University of Konstanz in Germany investigated boredom to gain a better understanding of what the feeling actually is. After surveying people for weeks, they discovered that boredom is not only widespread, it's more common than any other emotion. And in some cases, it's more intense than anxiety, enjoyment, or even depression. Goetz and his team identified 5 different types of boredom, meaning the feeling is actually linked to our personalities. The first type of boredom is indifferent boredom. I want you to picture this familiar scenario. You've had a long day at school or work, and right when you get home, you plop down on the couch and begin to zone out as you aimlessly scroll on social media. You're still experiencing boredom, but you don't really mind being bored. But now that several hours have gone by, you are aching to get up and do something else. Maybe tackle your homework or that growing pile of laundry. But you can't find the motivation within yourself to actually get up and do it. This is what we call calibrating boredom. When we experience this, we don't actively search for new actions. So instead of doing that homework or growing pile of laundry, you impulsively decide to participate in one of the many social media trends. If you were to ask yourself why, you could only respond by saying, because I was bored. This is what we call searching boredom. It may lead to risky actions, but it can also pave the way for lots of creativity. But now that countless hours have gone by, you are totally sick of social media. You've fallen into its endless scrolling cycle, you're stuck, out of control, and of course, extremely bored. Better yet, you might start to feel restless or even a bit aggressive. This is what defines reactant boredom. All you want is to just do something else. The first 4 types of boredom were identified by Goetz and his team way back in 2013. The last type of boredom, however, emerged from his more recent research. It's known as apathetic boredom, and in many ways is similar to depression. It may lead to negative circumstances, and according to Goetz, it is detrimental to a person's psychological health. The types of boredom, however, don't only affect the way we feel, they also have a significant impact on our brains. During exciting times, our brains will release a hormone known as dopamine. This is a feel-good chemical associated with pleasure, satisfaction, and happiness. When we are experiencing boredom, our brains will release less dopamine, which explains why some of us experience unpleasant feelings. Consider a study conducted by the University of Virginia in 2013. Several college students were placed in individual rooms for 15 minutes. They were given nothing except a button that they knew would electrically shock them if they pressed it. They were asked to entertain themselves with only their thoughts, but they could self-administer that shock if they so chose. So, what happened? Well, that's where this boring study gets a lot more interesting. 67% of the participants shocked themselves. This is despite the fact that they had previously told the researchers that they would pay to avoid the shock. As it turns out, they would rather experience physical pain than just be bored. So what does this mean? Well, the phrase bored to death may actually have some truth to it. The feeling can play a negative role in some people's lives. It prompts a lot of us to change our behaviors, sometimes in a more negative or dangerous direction, but this is entirely dependent on the individual and their own personal circumstance. But at the same time, boredom is an underappreciated emotion. In many ways, it can be good for us. Researchers at the University of Central Lancashire proved this. They gave study participants the super boring task of reading the phone book. They then asked them to be creative and generate as many ideas as they could for what they could do with a single plastic cup. Those who were the most bored while reading the phone book generated the most creative solutions compared to those who weren't as bored. As it turns out, indulging your creativity is not only a way out of boredom, boredom itself can also give your creativity a boost. Let me tell you the story of Isaac Newton. The young scientist was in his late 20s when the Great Plague of London hit. Much like us, he was forced to leave his home and leave his studies and return home to quarantine. We have all been there, so you can imagine how bored he was. But that boredom gave his mind time to wander. He began to muse and experiment, which proved life-changing for him. Out of plain boredom, Newton discovered calculus and gravity. And best of all, nobody knows if he made it out of his pajamas before noon. So while boredom may make us feel disinterested and sluggish, it can also spur us into action. According to brain scientist Jill Taylor, our brains are working 24/7. It's this always-on organ that never takes a vacation. Letting ourselves be bored is one way our brains can clean up after a long day. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I can't just sit around and do nothing. I'm drowning in work and deadlines and barely have enough hours in my day to juggle emails and tasks. But Taylor asserts that giving your brain this much-needed break will rejuvenate its cells and neurons. Those boring, seemingly empty moments will give your hidden strategies and solutions room to come to life. As Taylor asserts, your work mojo will improve. Boredom is a modern luxury. It didn't enter our common language until the Industrial Revolution gave us time to spare. Early on, when our ancestors had to spend their days gathering food and building shelters, there was no time to feel bored. But today, we can all agree that boredom is anything but boring. If anything, it's exciting and interesting. It may make us feel sluggish from time to time, but it will also promote our interests by keeping us all in tune with what we truly care about. We're not all going to be like Sir Isaac Newton, but somewhere between his life-changing discoveries and our silly social media videos lies the sweet spot of boredom. Thank you.
Let's take ourselves back to the beginning of the pandemic. Though it may have felt like time had stopped a long time ago back in March of 2020, my scale didn't get the memo. I knew that if I didn't start striving to be healthy, I could be in for some serious trouble. So I decided it was time to change my habits. I began eating healthier. I started to exercise regularly, and I tried to make sense of what all this fitness stuff was really about. Through 2 years of trial and error, I am here today, and I am so happy that I made these changes. But what made the key difference was learning the new information that gave me the tools to change things like my health, my state of mind, and my general well-being. And I know, like me, a lot of people were taking this time to self-reflect and reconsider their habits, but with the amount of confusing and just flat-out false information that's out there nowadays, how can we possibly do that? Fortunately, I've done a lot of the heavy lifting, and today I'm going to talk about exercise physiology, otherwise known as the science about how exercise affects our bodies. First, we will strengthen our knowledge of the science behind exercise physiology. Then, we will pull up to the pros, and finally, press on through the cons. Let's take a walk through one of the wonderful journeys of human biology. I've got to get my cardio in somehow. Let's warm up by talking about how exercise affects muscles of the body. Orthopedic surgeon Michael Carnes from the Cleveland Medical Center says that when an exercise such as weightlifting is performed, the intensity puts your muscles under stress. And this stress causes teeny tiny little micro tears to form in the muscle fibers. The harder you work out, the more of these micro tears there will be. Now, when first hearing about muscle micro tears, they can sound kind of scary, but they actually trigger the automatic biological response, which is necessary to get stronger. And when a balance can be maintained between training hard and not overtraining, you're put in the right condition to safely create these micro tears. I was curious as to how exactly the body accomplishes this muscle magic. Board-certified nurse and biology expert Regina Bailey writes for ThoughtCo that our bodies use protein that we get from food to build muscle. These proteins are then broken down into amino acids, the building blocks of all different types of proteins, and then are rearranged into different types of proteins in a process called translation. Maybe you've heard a health professional or a bodybuilder emphasizing the importance of a protein-rich diet when trying to build muscle. This is exactly why. Protein provides the sheer raw material that our bodies need to build new cells. So eat big to get big. Len Kravitz, not that one, a professor of exercise physiology from the University of New Mexico, then goes on to describe that only when muscles are placed under the intensity and stress of exercise are satellite cells sent in to replace and fill in the gaps in the muscle fibers. And this is why our muscles get sore after we work out. Our bodies are recovering and they're giving us the heads up, just chill out for a little bit. So, to summarize all of this science, exercise creates muscle micro tears and satellite cell bonding that results in muscles being bigger, stronger, and more durable. Let's take a look at some of the pros of exercise. According to Dr. Megan Wasfy, a cardiologist from Massachusetts General Hospital, moderate to intense exercise can have a number of heart health benefits. It can lower the bad LDL cholesterol, lower blood pressure, and help regulate blood sugar, which is crucial for people with diabetes. It can also protect the circulatory systems of heart disease sufferers from the fatty plaque that can cause heart attacks. If you're anything like me, you hate doing cardio with a passion, but nobody can deny just how good it is for you. Another pro comes right at the end of an intense workout, and anybody who has ever worked out knows that feeling when you run the last lap or re-rack the last plate. This is caused by a chemical known as an endorphin, which is so powerful it can block pain receptors just like an opioid, according to internal medicine physician Dr. Alana Biggers. These feel-good chemicals are so potent that it's not uncommon for doctors to prescribe exercise as treatment for mild to even moderate cases of depression. Finally, this last pro may shock and surprise you, but keep an open mind. Did you know that exercise can help with weight management? Dr. Bartolome Beguera writes for the Cleveland Clinic how fat cells in the human body are designed to trap and store excess energy that we get from food. And exercise increases the amount of energy that we burn in both the short and the long term. So when your body needs that extra jolt to power you through the end of your workout, it starts breaking down fat cells for energy. We spend our entire lives hearing about just how great exercise is for us. But in reality, the fitness industry contains a lot more toxic culture and misinformation than first meets the eye. For example, it is commonly believed that exercises can be used to target fat in a certain area of the body. Nutrition and exercise professor Todd Miller from George Washington University explains how this concept is fiction. Fat stores energy, and Miller compares trying to use fat from only one part of your body to trying to use gas from only the right side of your car's gas tank. Another common myth is that, if I may quote the YouTuber Athlete X here, cardio is killing your gains. He and many others in the industry believe that because cardio burns a lot of calories, this is going to cause you to lose muscle mass. This, however, is also false and disproven by just simple maths. The human body is a game of calories in versus calories out, meaning that unless you're doing so much cardio that it's causing you to lose unhealthy amounts of weight, there is no danger. Overtraining, on the other hand, is very real, and it can be detrimental. It ranges from just doing too much on any one day, all the way to body dysmorphia, or when a person sees their physical flaws as much worse than they actually are and fixates on them. This, according to the National Eating Disorders Association, can trigger an array of eating disorders, such as binge eating, anorexia, and bulimia. It can also trigger an obsession with healthy eating known as orthorexia. Yeah, there can be too much of this seemingly good thing. And of course, as it always seems to, the world of social media has the potential to exacerbate the issue. On platforms like Instagram and TikTok, some of the fittest people in the world come together to show off their hard work in the gym, or in some cases, their Photoshop skills. But even if these influencers aren't actively trying to put other people down, it can make those of us who don't go to the gym professionally feel bad about ourselves. And it's something that I myself struggle with for a very long time. Though exercise definitely has its clear-cut benefits, the downsides must be considered just as seriously. Today, we have strengthened our knowledge of the science behind exercise physiology, gone through its pros and its cons. It's important to remember that regular exercise can lead to a happier and healthier life. It definitely has for me. The human body is a wonderful and complex thing, and hopefully after today, we can walk away feeling confident we understand it if just a little bit more. So, no matter how sore you feel when you're reaching up for the chocolate bars, protein powder, chocolate protein powder, know that that feeling is your body helping you become stronger. Thank you.
In 5th grade, I was determined to become an author. My free time was occupied by the constant clattering of a keyboard as words spilled from my fingers, blinking into existence on an LCD screen. In an effort to make my compositions feel a little more legitimate, I began to digitally design book covers. When my father learned about my new hobby, he introduced me to Adobe Photoshop and taught me how to install custom typefaces onto my computer. That year, I fell in love with fonts. Hours were spent scrolling through online font collections like DaFont and FontSpace. I had never known that so many varieties existed beyond the meager collection that came pre-installed on my computer. Before I knew it, I left writing behind as I ventured into the realm of graphic design. By 6th grade, My reputation as the local font connoisseur flourished, and classmates began to ask me for design advice. Was it better to use Verdana or Montserrat? Did I prefer Helvetica over Arial? Determined to give as professional an answer as an 11-year-old could give, I began to scour design blogs for advice. It was in these forums that I learned of the worst faux pas a designer could make: using Comic Sans. Buoyed by this knowledge, I made it my mission to strike down the use of this font. And for the most part, my classmates and teachers obeyed. Yet there was one person I could not convince: Catherine, my best friend. As we argued, it became clear to me that there were two types of people in this world: those who loved Comic Sans and those who hated it. The hatred surrounding Comic Sans is a cultural phenomenon. Graphic designers consider it the ultimate enemy, and entire meme genres have proliferated around its amateurism. To quote Holly Combs, founder of the Ban Comic Sans movement, using Comic Sans is like showing up to a black tie event in a clown costume. Ironically enough, the font continues to be used the world over. In fact, in 2020, the BBC reported that Comic Sans was the United Kingdom's second most trusted font, the first being Times New Roman. The roots of its popularity stem to the early days of personal computers, as we clicked away on PCs for the first time, venturing through the options that Microsoft Word had to offer. This typeface stood out for its playfulness. It broke apart from the conformity of Cambria or the scholarliness of Times New Roman. Just as I had once felt the thrill of choice, sifting through thousands of fonts online, the pioneers of PCs were enchanted by Comic Sans and its round corners and bent ends. While originally intended just for use as a comic book typeface, Comic Sans soon found itself used on anything, from business proposals to gravestones. It was quickly deemed unprofessional, and thus its status as the most hated font in the world came into being. Our evolution of attitudes towards Comic Sans isn't so different from the way we have learned to live our lives. At the height of our childhoods, we find wonder within the everyday eccentricities. But as we grow up, we begin to fret over the idiosyncratic. The reality of the world settles in with a stiffness, binding us to antiquated rules that don't have roots in the times they now live in. To put it simply, we are conditioned to stop taking risks. As designers and as people, we settle into the comfort of templates, whether it be using Canva or following bureaucratic rulebooks. By the time I reached high school, graphic design didn't give me the rush of happiness it once did. I worried if my designs were professional enough, minimalist to the point of plain fonts and flat colors. It was during a sophomore year web crawl that I stumbled across Velveteen, an open source type foundry based in France. At the center of their collection was their most popular font, Pillow Lava. Simultaneously plump and polygonal, it was perfectly, beautifully unreadable. I hadn't used a font like it since the early days of middle school. What does it feel like to love a typeface for the purity of its poetry? My discovery of Velveteen reignited my love for design. In the past 2 years, I have relearned what it means to love the swash of an S that swirls just a little bit past reasonable. During my journey to embracing creativity, I have revisited my own history with Comic Sans. Somewhere in my journey to becoming a better graphic designer, I forgot how to have fun. Here's the truth I'm learning to accept. No one is really a Comic Sans hater. We've just been conditioned to feel that way. Our degradation of this typeface is a reflection of the way we hold orthodoxy in high regard, while relegating unconventionality to the sidelines. So, in the spirit of doing the unexpected and stepping out of our comfort zones, here is my defense of Comic Sans. In recent years, Comic Sans has been increasingly promoted as a font that is accessible to those with dyslexia. The regular shapes of each letter means that the characters are more distinct, meaning there's less repetition in the design, making it more readable. In fact, Comic Sans is recommended by the British Dyslexia Association. And it's not just helpful for dyslexics. A 2010 study from the Princeton University found that using Comic Sans could improve reading retention. Ultimately, this speech isn't just about Comic Sans. It's about who we are as people and what we will allow ourselves to be. So, what is your Comic Sans? What is that wish or hope you deem too silly or unreachable? Perhaps it's time to revisit that dream and fit it back into your life. While it won't be making an appearance in my Adobe files anytime soon, Comic Sans has begun to show up in my Instagram stories, nestled neatly among pictures of sunsets and flower gardens. Lately, every speech I write is written in the font I once despised so much. As humans, we have found ourselves in this unfortunate position of societal rigidity, conditioned against flexibility. But what is progress without the ability to embrace discomfort? And so it goes. There are two types of people in this world: those who love Comic Sans and those who will learn to love it.
Have you ever walked into a party, seen someone decked out in designer clothing and a very expensive pair of sneakers, and automatically assume that they're a snob? Have you ever seen someone that looks conventionally attractive and you automatically assume that they have an easy life and lots of friends? Have you ever encountered someone that doesn't hold the door for you and you automatically assume that they're rude or entitled? I think we all make surface level judgments about the people around us every single day. And when we do so, we are participating in person perception. Of course, some person perception helps us survive. If we see someone with a gun, we should run or hide. But other types of person perception, like the snap judgments we make about people based on Twitter accounts or vaccination status, may be detrimental because they interfere with our ability to make decisions based on facts. Today, we will explore what person perception is and how it can be problematic. We will look at the causes of person perception and finally explore ways in which all of us can check our own person perceptions and contribute to a better and deeper understanding of those around us. According to the American Psychological Association, person perception is defined by a tendency to form impressions of others in order to provide a foundation for judgment and interactions later on. According to C.R. Paramesh, a Duke University psychologist, many problems in interpersonal relations turn out to be in some measure a consequence of perceptual distortion. In other words, a consequence of distorted person perception. Person perception has significant real-world consequences. Let's take attractiveness for an example. According to the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior, attractiveness is a predictor for who gets leadership positions. In fact, political scientist Carl Palmer found that when he took two pictures of U.S. congressional candidates side by side, one could reasonably predict the outcome of the election. Once we begin to recognize the problem of person perception, we can see it in the decisions that we make every single day. Where to sit down in a public place, who gets to be captain of the team, and even in who we elect to lead us. We cannot identify and solve our deep-rooted person perceptions without first understanding where they stem from. Let's explore that. The first cause of problematic person perception is our surface-level perspectives of both ourselves and the people around us. According to Arthur Dobrin, a Hofstra University professor, we are all manipulating that first impression. We try to make ourselves look presentable and likable. We do our hair, put on our favorite pair of shoes, and maybe even add a little makeup. We are enhancing our natural selves to enhance someone's perspective of us. Isn't it fair to assume that if we're all making ourselves appear more glamorous, everyone around us is doing the same thing? Isn't it fair to assume that what we are seeing and making judgments on might not always be, well, real? The second cause of problematic person perception is implicit bias. Implicit bias means having or associating a certain stereotype or attitude with someone without our conscious knowledge. Implicit biases lead to a lack of empathy, driving us apart from one another and making us self-absorbed and disconnected. Emma Sepla, the science director at Stanford University, says that the result of our implicit biases is that our interactions with each other are thinned out, anonymous, and tribal. The third cause of problematic person perception is our own perceived physical limitations. We often feel trapped in our ability to bring about change. We often feel that we don't have a strong enough voice or presence to make a real difference. She Should Run, a nonpartisan nonprofit organization working towards enabling more women to run for public office, says that you don't have to be a senator or congresswoman to make a real difference in our country. In fact, by thinking locally, you are able to enact real and significant change, big or small, that can benefit you and the people around you. And the best part is, there is nothing stopping you from starting today. Our minds gauge our abilities and limit our decision making based on our surroundings. Don't let your perception of the world influence how you can change it. Now, I'm not naive enough to believe that we can change everyone's perceptions or biases, but I do believe that we need to start somewhere. And today I'm starting with you. Here is what we all can do to change our negative and overwhelming person perceptions. In terms of appearance judgments, we should slow down our reasoning processes. According to the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior, one strategy for doing so is to create 2 impressions of someone when you first meet them. One is your intuition, your quick and emotional response. The second is your conscious reasoning, your slow and controlled response detached from your emotions. If you initially create these 2 impressions, then your mind is not attached to a singular impression of that new person before diving deeper past that person's exterior. Once you can get to know them better, then you can determine which impression is closest to who they really are. The next time you meet someone new, maybe even at a forensics competition, I urge you to consciously think through your impulses and judgments. Consciously create those 2 impressions of that new person. You may be surprised how differently it feels when you are not creating an automatic and snap judgment. In terms of fighting implicit bias, Jill Sweetie, psychologist and author, says that the best way to do so is to be open to having and working through disagreements. Be open to new perspectives that may be different than yours, and be open to conflict because that is where we can grow. Harvard Business Review reminds us to acknowledge that mistakes will occur. We cannot get rid of our implicit biases overnight, but we can start consciously thinking through our mental walls and how we can overcome them. I urge you to go to the Project Implicit website to get a test result that can predict your discriminatory behaviors and help you understand how to decrease acting upon them. In terms of fighting implicit bias and social issues and working towards enacting social change, we need to fight for social emotional learning and equity training in schools and workplaces. According to edutopia.org, a psychology website, when we change our perspectives, we provide ourselves with a novel view that can open us up to a growth mindset. We need to help our community regain a growth mindset, and in doing so, small steps are the way to go. Little wins over time can lead to an expansive change in your mindset, and there are a few apps that can get you there. One is called Whoop, W-O-O-P. This app allows users to break down big goals and aspirations into a digestible manner to make them easier to accomplish. The second app is called Be the Change. This app allows users to not only create small and attainable goals, but also to think about kindness. You are able to talk to elected officials in your area to push for change in areas that you feel most passionately about. I urge you to join me in downloading both of these apps, Whoop, W-O-O-P, and Be the Change, to not only grow your mindset, but promote changes in your community's biases. Today, we learned that we need to be mindful of the impact of our person perception in order to avoid inaccurate assumptions and decisions. I urge you to join me in downloading all of these apps and promoting changes in our biases. Whether it's the shoes that somebody's wearing or the more complex issues of who is a competent leader or a good team player, changing the world begins with changing ourselves. Renowned American psychologist Roger Berman says that the reality of life is that your perceptions, right or wrong, influence everything that you do. When you gain a proper perspective of those perceptions, you may be surprised how many other things fall into place. Thank you.
Let's be real. No one is that excited to go back to school. However, there is one thing about the back to school season that draws a smile to my face. School supplies shopping. Last year, between the monotony of the same plain black screens of my classmates and my teacher's desperate attempts to get anyone to participate, I had to find a way to make my Zoom school year somewhat bearable. And so, on this search for a silver lining, I came across the perfect solution. UB. When I found UB school supplies, I was excited to go back to school. Almost excited. Now, you may be wondering what this amazing product is that can make a student look forward to their next exam. UB is a school and office supply company that is based in the United States. From notebooks to pens, highlighters, and even backpacks, UB offers everything you need to start a new bullet journal or prepare for the new school year. So, let's illustrate the history of this company, unpack some of UB's products, erase their competition, and click into UB's philanthropy. UB was founded in 2014 by Ido Leffler and Lance Kalish as one of their many companies, all of which have a common goal in helping the world. Upon learning that 99.5% of elementary school families in the United States paid for their own school supplies, Leffler and Kalish decided to compose a business plan for a company that would donate products to classrooms for every product purchased. Thus, the creation of UB. UB aims to ensure that all children have access to the supplies they need with this company philosophy. One for you, one for me. You buy, UB gives, which is a simple task for such an extraordinary goal. Speaking of extraordinary, would you be shocked at the variety of products that UB has that is just as large as their achievements? UB sells spiral and composition notebooks, binders, folders, and highlighters, but the product that captured my imagination, and I believe will capture yours, is their pens. I mean, who doesn't need a great pen? And saying that UB's pens are just great is an understatement. UB's pens have bold colors, smooth ink flow, and feel good in your hands. With 14 different types of pens, UB offers the perfect pen for everyone. Whether you're a third grader in art class, a high school student trying to scribble down some notes, an adult stocking the supply closet at work, or anyone trying to reorganize their homes, UB's pens are perfect for your every need. Some of the pens are made to appeal to children with Marvel and unicorn themes, while others come in simple multicolor packs of up to 6 pens. Need more? Try one of UB's 30 packs of gel pens to jot down those daily brainstorms. My personal favorite of UB's pens is their 18-pack of scented gel pens. The ink in these pens actually has sparkles in it, which makes my work way more striking than my classmates, and definitely helped me get through the misery of online AP US history. And for those of you with a fear of commitment, fear no more. You'll be happy to know you can buy just one. UB sells bunny and unicorn themed ballpoint pens, retractable 10-color pens, and even pens with squishies attached to them. Once you try one of UB's pens, I'm confident you'll be back for more. You can find all of these pens and more online at ub.com and Amazon, or in your local Target store. Don't even bother going to the other supply sections at Target, since UB strikes through its competition. How does UB do this? Well, let's compare UB's pens to 2 of its competitors. BIC, a cheap and accessible brand, and the high-end art supply company Sarasa. UB's most common pack of pens has 6 pens in a variety of colors. BIC's most common pack of pens has 8 pens and is also multicolored, but the colors aren't nearly as vibrant as UB's. Worst of all, Sarasa's most common pack of pens only has 4 pens, and the colors are just red, black, and blue. Not only does Sarasa dry out when it comes to variety, but it's also way overpriced. At $11 for a 4-pack, Sarasa charges nearly $2.50 per pen. Sarasa's pens are not worth the higher price, since they're not going to last as long as UB's pens do. Meanwhile, UB's pens cost $9.99 for a 6-pack. BIC's pens cost $8.99, which is just slightly less than UB's, but you're really getting what you pay for, since BIC's pens tend to skip, and your hand is going to hurt from the pressure you'll need to write with one. And I'm sure we all remember BIC's attempts to make a more appealing pen that they called BIC for her. Amazon customers quickly noted the unnecessary gendering of a pen and responded, leaving reviews such as, "My husband got me these lady pens because I find man pens to be so taxing." When you choose UB, you'll avoid ridiculous gender stereotyping and get long-lasting, high-quality pens that are affordable and perfect for your every need. The ink doesn't smear, your hand isn't going to hurt, and you'll be so happy to see the low prices. UB's pens get an A+, while Sarasa and Bic have flunked. Everyone needs a great pen, but when you choose UB, you add to the possibility that everyone will actually get one. According to a study conducted by the Kids in Need Foundation, they discovered that attendance rates in schools reach 95% or higher when schools and students have access to the supplies they need. So, UB teamed up with the Kids in Need Foundation to provide students in under-resourced classrooms with school supplies. UB's website describes its mission as, "Our vision is to one day ensure that all kids in need have access to the supplies they need to learn and be creative." And since UB's origination in 2014, they have reached 6.5 million children across the United States. In 2020, UB and the Kids in Need Foundation provided schools, students, and teachers with $70 million worth of school supplies. All because people like you and me chose UB. So, after clicking into the history of this company, illustrating some of UB's products, striking through their competition, and drawing up UB's way of giving back to the world, it's clear that UB's pens are what's missing from your backpack or desk drawer. So next time pens make their way onto your shopping list, whether it's to start a bullet journal or when you need a little bit of excitement as the new school year starts, make sure you choose UB.
What do you do when you're looking for that crunch? Nah, I don't mean that salty crunch. I mean that sweet crunch, like when you need something on a yogurt in the morning or just a small handful of something after school or work. Maybe it's for a smoothie or a pudding. For me, I always satisfy this strong craving with the amazing crunch of granola. But not just any granola, because a little like Goldilocks, I need something not too sweet and not too salty. But most importantly, not too boring. So, when I came across Safe and Fair granola at my local Target, I knew this brand was, well, just right. I love the variety of flavors, but I also love the company's message. Crave-worthy food that's delicious and at a fair price. Safe and Fair does granola right. Today, we'll scoop out the history of the Safe and Fair granola company, slice open the unique features of the granola, and see how Safe and Fair chomps away the competition. Safe and Fair has such an interesting background, and while communicating with the company, they shared that it was founded in 2017 by Dave Layer and Pete Najarian, two dads who each had children with peanut allergies. They were dissatisfied with the limited variety of foods for food allergic children, and they wanted to change that, but they wanted to do it without breaking the bank. Their vision was to create foods that were safe for kids with allergies, but also delicious and fairly priced. Hence the name Safe and Fair. But on top of cooking foods that were fairly priced and safe for those with allergies, Safe and Fair also makes their granola free of harmful ingredients that contain chemicals that are very harmful to the body. They strictly follow 16 proprietary measures to ensure their products are safe and of the highest quality. In fact, their safety protocols are validated by the leading food allergy lab in the U.S. As listed on their website, they are free of the top 9 allergens: milk, wheat, sesame, soy, tree nuts, fish, shellfish, and peanuts. That alone opening it up to reach more consumers, so those with allergies no longer have to miss out. Along with this long list of features, Safe and Fair granola is also vegan, kosher, and gluten-free. So, you might be wondering, what is the granola made of? Safe and Fair granola is plant-based, which has a variety of benefits. Plant-based foods help reduce inflammation, are high in body fiber, and can help reduce your risk of certain diseases. And Safe and Fair's transparency isn't just slogans and words. The company clearly isn't afraid to let you see it for yourself, with all their ingredients listed on their package. Plus, the bag is see-through. Safe and Fair is so dedicated that it donates 3% of all proceeds to the Sean N. Parker Center for Allergy and Asthma Research at Stanford University. This center aims to find better treatments for both children and adults with allergies and asthma and discover underlying immune mechanisms against diseases. Wondering if Safe and Fair tastes as good as it sounds? Well, it certainly does. with a wide variety of sweet and traditional flavors. Sweet and Salty Kettle will have you forgetting all about popcorn, while Gingerbread Cookie will take you right back to cozy December nights by the fire. Are you a traditionalist? Try their Sweet and Salty Kettle or their Gingerbread Cookie. However, my personal favorite has got to be their chocolate candy cane. This flavor in particular has some amazing features. It's made from sunflower oil, gluten-free oats, and real candy canes. And all their other flavors have unique features specific to them. And all these flavors are super convenient, since you can find them pretty much anywhere. Target, Walmart, Amazon. So forget the unhealthy generic granola you usually buy. Pick up Safe and Fair. Easily accessible, healthy, and absolutely delicious. So let's see how you could pair Safe and Fair with some of your favorite meals. Maybe you're making an acai bowl and you want to add some sweetness. Try their birthday cake granola. But maybe you're having some yogurt in the morning and you want to spice things up. Try their blueberry cinnamon. But maybe you're just looking to sit back and relax with some key lime pie granola. Whatever it may be, basic or extravagant, Safe and Fair has you covered. So you might be wondering what other people think of this granola, because trust me, the hype is real. Safe and Fair has an average 5-star rating and tons of reviews. One review saying, "I love birthday cake granola, my favorite flavor. Every bite tastes like a slice of birthday cake. It's also reassuring to know I can enjoy a delicious snack without worrying about cross-contamination because of my peanut allergy." After all this granola talk, let's see how Safe and Fair chomps away the competition. For this comparison, let's look at two supposedly similar brands, Bare Naked and Purely Elizabeth. When it comes to pricing, Safe and Fair chomps away Purely Elizabeth, with Safe and Fair being $4.99 and Purely Elizabeth being $6.49. On top of that, Safe and Fair has over 4 ounce more product, giving you a lot more granola for what you're paying for. While Bare Naked is around $1 cheaper at $3.49, you have to consider their very limited variety, with only 5 different flavors. Bare Naked has Purely Elizabeth has 16 different flavors, while Safe and Fair has a whopping 20 different flavors, with a new flavor added each and every single month. In terms of ingredients, Safe and Fair takes the lead by being free of the top 9 most common allergens, being gluten-free, cholesterol-free, vegan, kosher, and the list goes on, while Bare Naked takes no effort into keeping their ingredients clean and is not safe for those with allergies. While Purely Elizabeth is non-GMO and organic, it's clearly missing many of the things Safe and Fair has to offer. In terms of philanthropy, Safe and Fair is the only company that donates to any charities. While Purely Elizabeth does offer amazing health sessions, nothing compares to the efforts taken by Safe and Fair. Safe and Fair donates to amazing scientific research and other organizations. So, any way you scoop it out, you'd be nutty not to pick Safe and Fair when you need that crunch fix. Today, we spooned out the history of the Safe and Fair granola company and saw how Safe and Fair chomps away the competition. So isn't it time for you to find your favorite flavor? In fact, if you see me after the round, I might just be willing to share some chocolate candy cane granola.
What makes you happy? Maybe it's a rainbow or an ice cream cone, or maybe it's the keys to your parents' car. But what happens on the days that there isn't a rainbow or an ice cream cone and your parents have said no way about the keys? Do you find yourself looking for ways to be happy? I know I do. So imagine my joy when I found that happiness is just a click away in an app called Happiness Project. I'm not here with the typical sales speech about buying a great t-shirt to help a good cause, although you will definitely have a chance to do so. I'm here to convince you to download the Happiness Project app because it is an effective tool for helping people who are struggling with stress, anxiety, and general day-to-day worries. In my experience, the Happiness Project app is the single best place to begin your journey to stronger mental health. And who doesn't need that? Today, we will toggle through the Happiness Project app, swipe left on other apps that attempt to address mental health issues, and click on the ways in which Happiness Project can make your life and our worlds a better place to be. Happiness Project was founded by Jake Lavin in 2017 after his classmate Nick Spade, who was tortured by anxiety and depression, lost his battle at the age of 17. To honor Nick's legacy, Jake decided to help people just like Nick and break the stigma behind mental illness. Jake was also inspired by Nick's own dreams of becoming an entrepreneur. So he created Happiness Project, a clothing brand and web application that spreads positivity, uplifts spirits, and normalizes mental health. Whether you're struggling with anxiety or depression, or maybe you just want to be more mindful about your mental health, the Happiness Project app has the resources for all of us. Let's start with my favorite section, called My Story. Here you will connect with real people, real emotions, and real experiences through videos. You will quickly realize you are not alone in your thoughts or feelings. Are you feeling checked out and can't figure out why? Well, let's check in. Here, the app explains the steps for a personal mental health check-in. Just grab a pen and paper and walk through the steps to take a break and check in on yourself. My friend chose to use this section when she felt overwhelmed with schoolwork. She was able to check in, target her feelings, and learn how to move forward. And as you're scrolling, there will be little reminders, like whatever you're feeling, your feelings are valid. And at the bottom of every page, Happiness Project makes sure to include crisis lines so that everyone knows the resources that are available for them. Feeling stressed is very common, and luckily, you don't have to stay feeling that way. Just click on Happiness section's Breathe and go through deep breathing exercises. According to the University of Michigan Health System, deep breathing lowers the heart rate and promotes sleep in stressful times. Try it with me right now. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and exhale. Don't you feel better already? Because I know I do. Ever been frustrated with outdated info on an app? Not at Happiness Project. At the Hub, you will find the latest of current events, like Black History Month and International Women's Day. Or check out the Hub section on men's mental health. At Happiness Project, men can quietly, confidentially, and easily find the resources they need for help. Starting a mental health conversation with someone in their time of need is very important, but many don't know how. Go to the Hub section and learn how and get the resources to help start that difficult conversation. It can save a life. 85% of people struggle with low self-esteem. Or maybe you're like me and struggle with forgiving yourself when you make mistakes. Go to Happiness Project's affirmation section and learn the ways to minimize the impact of negative emotions. Repeating things like, I forgive myself and my mistakes, or every day in every way, I'm getting better and better, are proven to improve one's sense of self-worth. These are just a few of many sections and resources that the Happiness Project app has to offer. And it can be yours by going to the App Store and clicking to download the Happiness Project app. Happiness Project is such a unique approach to mental health support that it's difficult to find a direct competitor. However, I did find Moon Mission. Moon Mission is an app that gives you tasks or missions to complete when you are feeling down. I guess distraction may be helpful to some, but it fails to go any further. It costs $5 to download, plus in-app purchases, to access all of their resources. And customers of Moon Mission seem to have hit delete. The rating in the App Store is just 3.6 out of 5 stars. The Calm app is another app that attempts to support mental health, and once again, fails to do so. It only has meditation. If you're at work or school, you can't always take a break to go and meditate. And if you want to feel a real difference, then you will need to purchase a subscription. For 1 year, the cheapest option is $60. But with Happiness Project, you won't pay a dime, and you will get real tools to support your mental health, not temporary distractions from your problems. Users are overwhelmingly happy with the app, rating it a 4.9 out of 5 stars in the App Store. And when you download and fall in love with this app, you can enjoy some retail therapy at their very fun line of clothing and accessories if you want to. Happiness Project doesn't just bring joy to your life. It is proud to donate 15% of its profits to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. AFSP is dedicated to saving lives and bringing hope to those affected by suicide through scientific research, public education, and supporting survivors. Mental Health America states that about 800,000 people die from suicide each year. Nick suffered with his anxiety and depression, but did a good job hiding it. Sadly, we've heard many stories just like Nick's. You probably know a friend or family member who's been affected by the mental health crisis that has been made even worse due to the pandemic. Jake decided to create happiness projects so that all of us have a place to turn to when we need that extra mental health support. His idea created a life-changing and possibly life-saving app. Your happiness is just a click away.
July 1968. Dear Jack, our boys are off in every direction these days. Bruce and Paul are busy with Little League, and well, Hank got his driver's license yesterday. My men, they will be the death of me yet. Jack, your last letter had me a little worried. If anything happens to me here in Vietnam, don't let the memories of me keep you from marrying again. Keep on smiling, buy yourself a new dress. I just don't want you to be alone. I am not alone, Jack, and I will buy myself a new dress, just like I'll have the boys all starched and ironed and standing at attention when you walk up that walkway and into my arms. I love you, Betsy. At 17 years old, this is the first year of my life where my country is not actively at war, and even that may be fleeting. And yet, my education has handed me a clean, removed picture of war, of masculine soldiers sacrificed as statistics, of presidents shaking hands. Playwright Jack Hilton Cunningham offers a different story. Through the tales of a wife whose husband is serving in Vietnam, a mother whose 3 sons are World War II veterans, and a woman just returned from Afghanistan, Cunningham examines loss, triumph, and survival across 3 generations in Women in War. I was 17 when 9/11 happened. I remember the television in the kitchen that day was blaring with reports of airplanes crashing into buildings in New York City. So I vowed then and there that I would do my part to make sure something that awful never happened to our country again. So I joined my high school's ROTC. When I graduated that following May, I joined the Army. Slowly, my blue stars turned to gold. My baby, Adams, was the first to turn gold, and then 4 weeks later, it was my Joshua. I wrote to my son David, to cheer him up. I said, David, you are no longer my middle son. You are my only son. David's star turned gold before he received my letter. September 1968. Dear Jack, it's been 3 weeks now and no word from you. The boys and I are doing all right. We just wish you would send word so that we know that you're okay. Not much is new here. I bought myself that new dress. I love you, Betsy. I suffer from what they call post-traumatic stress disorder. When I started therapy, we thought my symptoms was just because, when I was in Afghanistan, my truck was hit. We was the victim of a terrorist attack, and both of my legs had to be amputated knee down. 3 of my fellow soldiers was killed. 2 men and 1 woman. I read somewhere that over 220,000 women was sent to Afghanistan and Iraq. This ain't easy to talk about. You see, there are a lot of soldiers who don't think of women as sisters, wives, or sweethearts. Here it is, and I swear this to you on my grandmama's grave. I was raped when I was in Afghanistan by my first lieutenant. Now, because I was only an enlisted soldier, I didn't say nothing. Didn't think I would be believed. He was handsome, a very popular officer amongst the troops, so who would believe that I hadn't agreed to have sex with that man? I ain't condemning all the men who serve their country honorably, but the percent that take advantage of their female counterparts, that's greater than the numbers say. I am the proud Jewish mother. Folks no longer stop to congratulate me, but to console me. Chin up, I tell them. What greater sacrifice can a mother make than to give her precious sons for her country? The Gold Star mothers have a heavy burden to bear. I stand behind our great president in these times of trials and tribulations. He gives me great strength. My boys never left me. You know, I still see them every day, climbing the tree in the backyard, or scraping a knee while skating, or running after the cat, or collecting newspapers and cans for the war effort. Giving up a son is the hardest part of being a mother. Losing a son to war is the agony of motherhood. No more will I call up the stairs to them. No more will I sit up at night, worrying when they come home late. No more will I fall fast asleep at peace when I hear the key in the door. No more. No more. November 1968. Dear Jack, it's been so long without word from you, my love. Your parents are coming in town for Thanksgiving. I guess I'm just wishing you could be with us for the holiday. I love you. Betsy. It's been 10 years since 9/11. I am 28 years old, but I feel so much older. You know, this is my story, but there are many, many more women with stories just like mine. We serve. We are abused. We come home, and we fight the demons. I may not be able to dance no more, not with these plastic legs, but that's cool. I can live with that. But will I ever be able to trust another man? Get married, have a relationship, even have children? Because right now I ain't seeing that happening. I heard of a program out in California for women like me. Maybe I'll go there. December 1968. Stop. Mom and Dad, stop. The dreaded doorbell rang yesterday. Stop. 2 young officers came to inform me that Jack is dead. Stop. At first they thought he was taken prisoner, but later learned that he had not survived. Stop. His body is to arrive in California next week. Stop. I am holding up about as well as one can expect. Stop. The boys are a great comfort to me. Stop. Please come. Stop. Betsy. Giving up a son is the hardest part of being a mother. Losing a son to war is the agony of motherhood. On the first snowy day in December, Jack's body arrived home, his coffin draped in the American flag. The boys and I met the train. I was wearing my new dress. We serve. We are abused. We come home, and we fight the demons.
In our little house on the north side of Pittsburgh, we had one television. Well, actually, we kept it behind the couch, and I was never allowed to watch it. Most nights, it was my mother, me, and some wooden blocks. Very little house on the prairie, but in the 1980s. One day, though, when I was about 4 years old, I went across the street to my neighbor's house, and she let me watch The Love Boat. And it blew my mind. When I think about it now, I can just picture Gavin McLeod in a Cass's uniform, making out with all of these perfect women with perfect perms. When I came home, I asked my mother, why do they kiss in such a crazy way? And that was a really difficult thing for my mother to explain to me, but she was like, well, when two people love each other like a whole lot, that is the way that they kiss. So when she came in that night to put me to bed, I grabbed her head and I smashed up against mine and moved it back and forth, and oops, I loved my mother so much. We often hold our loved ones so close that the reality of their passing seems incomprehensible. In the end, We can't quite know the strange or even unexpected ways we will cope with loss until it happens. But also Bring the Cheese by Kate Tellers. The day before I went to college, my mom and I were eating lunch, and she explained to me that she had seen a doctor and was sick. She said she was going to have chemo and would be completely fine. And I really did honestly believe her, but I couldn't unhear that. I felt like I suddenly had to start considering a world with this big hole where my mom should be. 5 years later, I moved to New York, but on Friday afternoons, I would go to my mom's apartment in Pittsburgh. You know, she'd always open the door and say, "Would you like a glass of wine?" And I would be like, "Yes!" And we both knew it wasn't a glass of wine, because it never was. Of course, she's already laid out her blue and white mismatched plates, salty olives and white cheeses. And we're sitting and laughing because she just confessed that the hardest thing she ever had to do as a mother was give me Ipecac to induce vomiting. She thought I had accidentally gotten into her asthma medicine because of the red-coated pills in my mouth. And I confessed that I was actually eating from this little container of Red Hots. So we're sitting and laughing, and my brain splits. I start to take notes about my mom, and I note the way she laughs so big you can see the cavities in the back of her mouth. And her head is so small that she still shops at the children's section at Lens Crafters. You can tell because the candlelight catches the brand of her glasses, which is Harry Potter. Part of me is completely present. And the other part of me is just taking notes about my mom, in case I ever needed them when she wasn't there. 7 years later, I'm back in Pittsburgh. The doctors have told us that it's time to come home. So I'm in my mother's bedroom, and she's leaning on the sink. And I see this change come over her face. I know that this is the day that I have been afraid of for 10 years. Now I'm calling everyone and saying, "Come over now for what will probably be the worst day of your life." But because I'm my mother's daughter, I'm doing this while taking plates off the shelf and saying, "But also, bring cheese." And I can tell from the way that my mother is breathing that she doesn't have much time. So I go in to check on her, and she's gotten out of her bed, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" I have to pack. Oh, Mommy, where you're going, you don't need a suitcase. And she nods and scrunches up her nose like she always does when she's thinking, and goes silent. I've never done this before, and I know that I should say that I love her and that I'll miss her, and in 28 years I can throw her the best 85th birthday party. Woo! And then sometime after that, we'll probably explode into one big fireball so that neither of us would ever have to live our lives without the other. Without the other. But she already knows that. So I just tell her, in May, I'm going to be a bridesmaid at my friend Jess's wedding, just so that she knows that I'll have plans. And I'm really excited that the dresses are green, because they'll really bring out my eyes. Mom? And that's it. My mother's gone. And I realize that I can still make a pot of coffee. I can still check my emails, and I can still drink all of this wine and eat all of this cheese. But now there's this big hole where my mom should be. And I just wait for that big gut punch to hit me. That emptiness. And instead, I feel the strangest thing. I just feel sad. And it envelops me. And it feels white. And it feels hot. And I feel full.
And the bad news today is that we're all gonna die!
That's right, Joey. Signs of the impending apocalypse are everywhere. Today, the President of the United States issued a statement reading,
I love how he tells it like it is. So refreshing.
Absolutely.
No, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to flee in terror.
And I look forward to trampling your body on the path to my escape.
Just try it, Joyce. I'm a finely tuned man-machine.
You have no idea what you're dealing with, Joey.
And we'll get right back to you after these important messages.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to live during the end of all existence?
Join Bob and Pippa as they discover multiple ways to survive the end of the world.
10 Ways to Survive the End of the World
By
Don
Don
Zolitis.
Citizens of the Earth and Narrator 1, let's face it, at some point, the world's going to end.
At this rate, sooner rather than later.
Well, I mean, the signs are everywhere.
The Cubs won the World Series.
Kylie Jenner's a billionaire now.
There's like these pug dogs everywhere.
Really, Narrator 1? Pug dogs?
Yeah, dude, pug dogs. I'm pretty sure they're like sign number 4 of the apocalypse.
Anyways, it all adds up to one thing.
The end is near. Sorry.
Face it, you're doomed without us.
But have no fear.
Actually, they should have a lot of fear. It might save their lives.
Okay, so have a moderate amount of fear because we are here to help you live. Listen to us and you might survive. Don't listen and, well, you'll be toast. So we have created this handy chart which you can tape onto your refrigerator after the show.
I thought it was going to be magnets.
You never said you wanted magnets.
Yes, I did. It was in the slideshow presentation.
I wasn't listening.
You're dead to me.
Problem 1. Asteroid impact.
I don't see it, Bob.
Well, I can't see it, Pippa. This is stupid anyway.
Sorry for trying to make this entertaining.
This is just like you. Frivolous.
Frivolous. I am fun, okay? Fun. I'm sorry that that's a big problem for you. You know, you used to be fun before this whole end of the world thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not chipper right now. I don't even want to watch it anymore. I think we should be trying to stop it.
Are you insane? How are we gonna do that? God, you're so dumb sometimes.
No, I've seen this in the movies. We can stop it. All we have to do is come up with the most unrealistic solution imaginable. And it'll be so crazy, it just might work.
What?
Come on, we need an unrealistic solution. Think.
This is gonna be hot for Bob.
Now is not the time for verbal quips, Pippa. I've got it. We push the Earth out of the way.
Will that work?
It's so stupid it's certain to work. Come on, push.
Whoop. It worked.
Solution 1. Push the Earth out of the way.
Problem 2. Apes take over. This is terrible.
My handcuffs are chafing. I have delicate skin, and these are chafing, you monsters. You can't even give us skin cream.
There's only one way out of this, Bob. We fight! So let's rise up and rip off these shackles to destroy these apes! Hurrah!
Is it over? Solution 2. Hide.
While the other person fights. Problem 3. Killer hurricanes.
Caused by climate change. We've got to get out of here, or else we might get that sweet, sweet release of death. Looking forward to that.
Are you serious? Is that a comment about me?
No. A little. Oh man, I never thought we were gonna die in a hurricane.
Who says you're gonna die? Another way to look at it is that the trees are just waving back and forth, and that's what's causing the wind. Who can say what the truth is? Anyway, you wanna order a pizza or something?
You can stay. I'm getting out of here. Well,
would you look at that?
Solution 3. Pretend it doesn't exist. Problem 4. Rise of the machines.
Man, I never thought the machines were gonna take over so fast.
Yeah, I never should have installed that last Windows update.
Well, that was stupid. Systems processing. Systems processing. Updating. Downloading. Restarting. Error. Error.
Solution 4.
Wait until the machines become obsolete and have to update because
no technology lasts past 2 years anyway.
Problem 5.
The end of the Mayan calendar. We're all gonna die.
Why is this a big deal?
The Mayans made this calendar. And they were smart. And the calendar ends this year.
Is it possible that the ancient Mayans could be wrong?
Do you hear her? They invented 0, lady. Okay, 0. Did you invent 0? No, so shut your mouth.
Why don't we just get a new calendar?
Solution 5. Get a new calendar. Problem 6. Nuclear war. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. If this were a real emergency, you would receive instructions on how to survive the upcoming nuclear war.
Phew! Just a test.
That gave me the willies.
More than going on a date with me.
You're horrible. This is not a test of the emergency broadcast system. We are under nuclear attack.
Oh! Don't panic! Don't panic! We know what to do.
Duck and cover.
That's right, I totally knew that. Duck and cover.
Solution 6. Duck
and cover.
Problem 7. Killer virus.
We have to maintain the quarantine.
I could use some snacks, though. Do you mind if I go get some snacks?
Yes.
Darn it. Achoo!
You just sneezed.
Achoo! I have allergies. Achoo! Achoo!
Did you see that? He totally sneezed after I told him not to sneeze.
Achoo! It's an involuntary achoo response.
It's probably nothing.
Solution 7.
Don't sneeze.
Problem 8. Alien invasion. We're all gonna die.
Get a hold of yourself. Only most of us are gonna die. You see, when the aliens come, we ambush them. We hit them on their heads with these wrenches, and when they put their little landing ships on the Earth, we steal one, and then fly it into the mothership.
Alien invaders! There's a human waiting to ambush you. They're over there.
Bob.
Pew, pew. Solution 8. Betray humanity. Problem 9. Super smart bunnies. Time's up, bunny scum.
No.
Any last words?
Yes. Alexa, kill all humans.
Solution 9.
Kill all
bunnies. Problem 10. The sun explodes.
This seems like a bad one.
Yeah, definitely serious.
We survived this far. There's gotta be something we can do.
Think of it this way. No, we don't have to try.
You never tried, Bob!
And you wasted all that time doing so. Bob for the win.
There's gotta be some way out of this.
Solution 10. Don't listen to the only rational person who is trying to come up with a solution to save you, and wait for the fiery embrace of the sun.
What?
Oh, yeah. You're not getting out of this one. This is the end.
Yeah, you're joking, right?
No, you are toast. You are literal toast. Here it comes! 3, 2, 1!
So, razor commercials freak you out?
Oh, come on. I mean, not all of them. You know, just the one where everything that hits the guy's face turns to water. I mean, like even a hockey puck.
Okay.
And then it's just, you know, splash. So he's like, huh, where's my towel? Oh, crap.
You are so very, very strange.
Oh, come on. Don't talk about your brother that way. I mean, these are legitimate concerns.
No, they aren't. And would you quit calling yourself my brother? It's creepy.
Oh, it's not creepy.
It is. It's like you have to keep reminding yourself of who you are.
Maybe I do, huh?
Or maybe it's not you that you're reminding, huh?
Look, all I'm trying to say is I wonder what happens when the water hits a guy's face, you know? Then it turns back into the hockey pucks or the towels. Hey?
Guess not.
Oh.
Hey, have you seen my glasses?
Yeah, they're right here.
Oh. Guess we're gonna have to get used to that feeling, huh?
Siblings Kyle and Olivia grew up attached at the hip.
As the two grow together, Olivia develops a tumor which impairs her memory.
Kyle holds onto their relationship with the tightest grip he can muster.
But will he be strong enough to keep the memories alive?
Or will he have to be strong enough to learn to let go?
Then again, script by Jane Nicholas.
Do they have a pool here? I mean, come on, I bet you they have a pool.
No.
Okay, then I'll bring in a slip and slide. You know, we can set it up down your hallway. You and your friends can take turns. It'll be fun, like a dorm party, but ward party.
Jeez, Kai, what's wrong? You're acting like I'm gonna die.
Come on, I don't say stuff like that, please.
Just figured you'd be used to hospitals by now, that's all.
I don't ever get used to it, okay? I don't ever want to.
Oh, that's the spirit.
Look, Olivia, you're gonna get better this time, okay? I mean, last time they brought us 8 months, all symptom-free, so that means they're figuring it out, you know? Piece by piece, so this time will be better. It'll be the last time.
Listen, Kai. I have a chronic tumor condition, okay? It doesn't really get better. And yeah, like you said, the 8 months, they were symptom-free, but come on, you know it was still happening. It just means that the tumor, it had more room to grow because, well, my brain's a little...
Your brain?
Mm-hmm.
Your brain is not little.
It is. It's what the doctor said.
Which doctor? I mean, where is he? I'll kick his ass.
Huh? You please.
Look, nobody calls my sister's brain little, okay? This is the biggest brain in here. She's like the cartoon mouse.
The brain?
Yeah.
What does that make you, Pinky? Ugh.
Need some help with that?
No.
Okay, my bad.
Sorry, I shouldn't. I should know all of the information on these stupid forms.
Look, you're tired, okay? Let me take a crack at it. I'll meet you inside.
Okay. Hey, Kai, did we leave my scrapbooks in the car?
Liv, we brought all your boxes in. You're totally moved in here.
What?
Yeah.
Oh. How long have I been?
A while. Look, your scrapbooks are in the drawer of your dresser here. Remember this one? It's from when we were little.
Little? You were never little.
Come on, of all the things you forget, the fact that I was just a fat little kid never escapes you, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You're cruel.
You look happy.
We were. We still are.
Are we? Kai,
Yeah.
How often is it happening?
That's not important. Here, let's look at this one. Remember that tree fort? I mean, took us 3 months to build. It was still a giant death trap, so we told Dad it was haunted and never went up there again.
No.
No what?
No, I don't remember that.
You know, it was a long time ago anyways.
Kai! How often is it happening?
Okay, look, you have good days and you have bad ones. I mean, most of the time you know where you are and why you're here. And you always seem to remember your name and birthday.
Right.
And your irrational fear of heights and spiders.
You jerk. I mean, I always gotta remember you, right?
Sure. Sure you do.
He's not here and he's supposed to be here!
Liv, what's going on? What's wrong?
No, I don't want to look at anybody but Kyle. Go away!
Liv, it's me. I'm right here.
I don't care who you are! I want my brother.
I understand. Look, we called him and he's on his way, okay?
Good. Now would you please leave me alone?
Olivia, do you know where you are?
Do I? No! And that's why I want you to leave and go get me my brother!
Okay, you're in a hospital, okay? You have a tumor that's been applying pressure to your brain, so it's making you confused. Here, come. Sit.
Are you a doctor?
I've been with you since your diagnosis.
So, am I gonna get better?
Your brother seems to think so.
Do you know Kai?
Yeah, he's been here every day. You know, he just loves you so much, Olivia.
How long have I been here?
Well, a while.
And, how much longer am I gonna be here?
Well, what do you mean?
Doctor, how much longer until I die?
Oh. Not for a long time, okay?
Damn.
What do you mean, damn?
Look, it sounds horrible, I'm sure, but he's here every day.
Yeah, of course he is.
Well, he shouldn't have to be. I mean, why should he have to give up his life just for the rest of mine?
Look, he doesn't see it that way, okay? I mean, he loves you and he's here for you, so you need to be here for him too, even when things get hard.
Why?
He's just not ready to let you go.
Well, then he's even more delusional than I am. Oh. Hey, Kai.
Hey, sis, you doing okay today?
How long have you been here?
A while.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize what time it was.
Look, I've got some news.
It's alright, I already know.
What?
Come on, the way the doctors talk to me, the way they look at me, I mean, the way you're looking at me now. No, Kai, don't look, it's okay.
How can you say that? I mean, it's not just okay.
But it is, Kai, it's just time.
Oh, time? Olivia, time doesn't even exist for you, okay? 2 days ago, I turned 15, according to you. You don't get to tell me that it's time.
You're angry.
Of course I'm angry!
At what? Me?
Sometimes, I mean, look, you don't get it, okay? I mean, you don't have to see you wasting away and panic and cry at a haunted treehouse, then wake up 10 years later.
That's not fair.
Okay, you don't have to see you constantly searching, always lost and terrified and all alone. I mean, you only think it's okay because you have no idea what it's gonna be like when it's not okay anymore.
Oh, you think that I don't know what it's like? Every day you come here and I haven't seen you in lifetimes. I mean, I never know who is you, and I'm always afraid of those few lucid moments that I get in a day when they won't be enough for you. That you won't get to hear me tell you that those stupid razor commercials, well, yeah, they freak me out too, okay?
Oh.
Look, Kyle, I don't want to leave you, okay? But it's time. It's time to stop being scared. Time to stop being afraid of being lost. It's time to stop worrying about how much time we have left and just enjoy it.
What if I'm not ready to let you go?
Okay, but come on, dude. What if you are? I mean, don't you remember the treehouse that we built? I was always afraid of it, so you never went up there. We told Dad that it was haunted.
You remember that?
What I remember is that you've always given up so much for me, and I don't want you to have to give up anything else. I don't want you going around pretending that, that the whole world is haunted just so that I don't feel bad about leaving it.
I love you way too much, sis. You know that?
Yeah, it's because you're an idiot.
Oh, come on. I mean, don't talk about your brother that way.
Look, I love you too, and so that's why this isn't goodbye. It just means that from now on we're gonna have to look forward to saying hello, okay?
Then, I mean, how much longer do we have?
A while.
A while. A while's good.
The game is Simon Says. You know how it goes. When Simon says do an action, you do an action, but you're only supposed to do an action if Simon says. Ready? Simon says, put your right hand up. Simon says, put your right hand down. Cross your arms. Oh, no. Simon didn't say cross your arms. You need to make sure you're listening, okay? Simon says, put your left hand up. Wave. Now, why are you waving? You don't know how to listen? You must not be a good listener at home. Simon says there is only one rule, only do what Simon says. So you go when Simon says, eat when Simon says, leave this room when Simon says. Simon says it's not time for a bathroom break. Simon says sit up straight, be still, be silent. Oh, no, that's my bad. Simon says you have the right to remain silent. According to the ACLU, there are 14 million American schools with police, but no counselors. Black and brown students are disproportionately affected by suspensions and expulsions, and such measures are proven to premeditate incarceration. This is the school-to-prison pipeline. Through this collection of poems, we see exactly how it plays out in real life. The Game is Rigged, a poetry program. An entrance to a West Philadelphia high school. Officer with a gun on each hip asks if I have any weapons. I hold up my books. He doesn't find that funny. Tells me to empty my pockets and walk through the metal detector. You see, in every state in America, there's a set of standards for each subject, right? Like a list of requirements that each teacher is required to teach before the end of the term. But in every state in America, the greatest lessons are the ones you don't remember learning. Simon says, smile. Show us your teeth. You're only as valuable as you are able. Simon says, it's time to file in the hallways now. One behind the other, straight, silent lines tight to the right. Simon says, it's still not time for a bathroom break, and stop asking. Simon says you're not listening. People that don't listen will never be successful. Simon says if you can't be silent, how will you hear what Simon is telling you to do? Silence. I said, be silent. Simon said, be silent. Simon says, sit up straight. Simon says, fix your uniform. Oh, you don't want to fix your uniform. Go sit in the corner. Simon says, if you can't handle this classroom, how will you handle your jail cell? I heard the newly built prison a few miles away bought the test scores of failing schools to use as wallpaper. But we say no child left behind, right? Because it's a slogan for the slick to convince you that you have not heard it before, like your mother did not work 3 jobs, average 2 hours of sleep a night so that you would not be left behind. No child left behind is a bumper sticker. It's a caption, an empty slogan with no room for imagination. So our teacher asks us if we have dreams. 11 students raise their hands barely above their shoulders as if they are sitting in history class unsure of the right answer. And they have become far too comfortable with the right to remain silent. Do you understand your rights as they have been read to you? Whoa, whoa, don't move! I see you reaching for your 9mm wallet. I see you reaching for that 38 caliber inhaler. No, I said don't move! Stop breathing! You're puffing up your chest! I feel threatened! Stop resisting arrest! Is that a weapon? Nah, lay down! No, face down! No, face ground! Bang! Oops, I did it again. I'm a pop star. No, I'm a pop star. No, by the time I get back to the precinct, I will be a rock star. Clap for 'em. I got more trophies with black names on them than BET award winners. Clap for 'em. They are probably gonna honor me at the NYPD award dinner. Clap for 'em. They will probably throw me a parade. Clap for 'em, 'cause when I clap for 'em, they go to the graves. There are thousands of unreported lynchings that happen in American classrooms each year. Now, the victims are black and brown and poor and different. Children suffering for not being who we want them to be, for having voices too loud or accents too thick or pockets too thin, because a teacher never fails, only you do. So you keep your head down, keep your eyes on your own paper. If you don't know the right answer, just fill in C. In every state in America, the greatest lessons are the ones you don't remember learning. Don't walk too fast, don't speak too loud. Keep your hands to yourself, keep your hands where we can see them. It is better to be silent than to make them uncomfortable. No, it's safer to be silent. Do not make them uncomfortable. So, our teacher asks us if we have dreams. But the American dream is the African American nightmare. Simon says you will refer to it as Officer Simon from now on. And Officer Simon says, know your place. Officer Simon says, show your teeth, boy. You're only as valuable as you are able. Officer Simon says, put your hand down. We don't raise hands here. There are no questions here. Officer Simon says, it's still not time for a bathroom break, and stop asking. Officer Simon says, you must not be a good listener at home. At this rate, you'll not be going back home. Officer Simon says it's time to file in the hallways now, one behind the other, straight, silent lines tight to the right. Officer Simon says if you can't be silent, how will you hear what Officer Simon is telling you to do? Silence. I said be silent. Officer Simon said be silent. Sit up straight. Fix your uniform. Fix your face when you're talking to me. I don't care if I didn't say Officer Simon says, right? Because Officer Simon said it. So sit up straight and be still. Be still. Officer Simon says if you can't handle this jail cell, how will you handle your casket? Oops, I did it again. Bang. In every state in America, the greatest lessons are the ones you don't remember learning.
Okay, so last week I was informed that when black people die and go to heaven, we go through this magical purification process, right? So when we reach those pearly white gates, we get some new white shoes, white wings, white skin, a white robe that's probably hooded, right? And that curse gets lifted. Eric Gardner, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, just to name a few, all had their lives taken at the hands of police brutality. Each and every one of those names has one thing in common. One thing working against them. Now, this same thing is working against me. It was working against my ancestors, and unfortunately, it'll be working against future generations. Now, guess what it is? Running through graveyards, a poetry program. I've been running through graveyards for 2 whole days. I got a coffin for a heart and tombstone legs. The wolves stay loose, the moon won't change. It feels like heaven's trying to abuse my praise. It's a bevy of demons that stay scheming. Ain't too many prophets left for me to believe in when every time I turn on the news, they kill Jesus. Black boys with shell casings in their palms, painting the pavement with their pulses. Police have no idea the pain that this cost us. We went from lifting weights with our boys to lifting the weight of our boys. Pallbearing as a pastime, thinking of past times where I had time, but my hourglass is filled with ashes. Got me writing love letters to caskets like, you make my heart stop. Or at least you'll love me when it does. Mama, will you still hold me if I'm too holy and you ain't left with the whole me? Will there ever be a time where the content of my character overrides my physical attributes? What do we tell our sons and daughters? That if they test oppressive waters, they'll undoubtedly drown in the vicious ocean we call the justice system. And we claim to live in a country where people don't see color. Caution. I'm not a cause till I'm a carcass, silenced and seen as sin. If I'm caught talking, so as be humbled or be hobbled. I'm a dead man walking. I let this country cut the limbs of my language just so I could say that I'm unarmed. I thought faith could protect me. I tried to find salvation in Proverbs, but God's words ain't nothing to a cop's nerves. With the Mossberg, my body left a corpse with lost words. I'm alive, but by luck at this point. I often wonder if the gun that will unmake me is yet made. What white birth will come and bury me? How many bullets, like a flock of blue jays, will come and carry my back to its final bed? Today, I did not die. But there's no God nor law to thank, because the bullet simply missed my head and landed in another. Because if you not Pac, when you got shot, then no one cares. The news, they'll cast you as a bad boy. Say it's no big deal, but I know my skin is a villain, so I look inward. But I still find nothing but the N-word. It's like I'm a reverse diamond. All my shine is reduced to coal because my existence is a minor inconvenience. my existence is a minor inconvenience. It was that realization where I broke. I snapped out of myself into an insidious, insatiable instrument of vengeance. My mouth became a mortuary, vomiting bullets, speaking death notes of names, making claims that next finger that'll pull the trigger will be mine. That the next body that they come across will wear a badge. That the picture they'll use will paint him as a thug, as a waste of life, letting everyone know I had a reason to waste his life. Oh, I'll look like a criminal. Man, screw that MLK preaching and peach teaching. In a world of carnivores, you can't be vegan if it's beef. Man, welcome to the grill. How it feel to have a gun up in your grill. 9mm spatula, smacking you, leave you leaking like a broken catheter. Now, what's it like being black for you? When your life is a tightrope down a gun barrel, and you're walking so carefully you don't know how you'll run, but my spirit has been sprinting since I was an infant. So, in this instance, I've been running through graveyards for 2 whole days. I got a coffin for a heart and tombstone legs. The wolves stay loose. The moon won't change. It feels like heaven's trying to abuse my praise. I've been running through graveyards.
The New York Times has been reporting on this new type of rare cancer that's been detected in gay men across the U.S. Now, sure, most of my friends think the reports are overhyped, the media's latest attempt at demonizing gay sex. But all I know is that gay men are being diagnosed and then dying at a frightening rate. And on top of that, Mark, my partner, has been diagnosed with this type of pneumonia. I think the doctor called it, what was it? PCP or pneumocystis. And well, he said they're gonna try some special medication to treat it, but every time I try to think about it, well, my mind just goes blank. So I guess all I can do is look out the window and I notice how quiet the shoreline is. Though the sky is still blue, it's fading, fast. Clearly, nothing will ever be the same. Up until my grandpa died of complications from multiple myeloma, a cancer that is shockingly similar to AIDS, he always reminded me, remember your roots. And as a queer man, I've lived in denial of my roots for far too long. But I can't bring back the 40,489 majority queer Americans who died of AIDS complications before President Reagan even publicly spoke on the crisis. While I'm incredibly lucky to have more effective treatment and prevention measures today, the stigma behind HIV and AIDS still lives within queer bloodlines. In this piece, we honor the trauma and grief of our queer ancestors in the memoirs Borrowed Time by Paul Monette and The Sea is Quiet Tonight by Michael Ward. You know, I still have a few photos of Mark and I in my apartment. Just a few, and I think this one's my favorite. So it's the two of us with our arms tucked under our chins and well, someone must have said something hilarious because our eyes are crinkled into these little smiles and we're both wearing these expressions that are just so achingly open-hearted. You know, it's clear looking at this picture. I mean, we were smitten. You can imagine how disloyal I feel when I return to Mark's room from the visitor's lounge and I see this big red sign on his door that reads, "Precautionary isolation." And right next to it, there's this list for how I should be wearing surgical caps, gloves, gowns. I mean, it might have well have said, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." Hey, I mean, that's the thing. I've been sharing a bed with Mark for the past 2 years, so I kind of wonder, what are they trying to protect us from now? But when the nurses walk into the room, I yank my hand away from Mark because they are frightened of us. And that's what's upsetting. When we meet with the specialist, I have to fill out this series of questions about our relationship and sexual histories. Did we wear condoms? Had we gone to the baths? Were we monogamous? What about multiple partners? You know, Mark was only the 100th person in Massachusetts to be diagnosed with AIDS. And I remember really so little was known back then that I was optimistic by nature. I remember thinking, we just have to keep him alive long enough for them to find a cure. But you know, of course, I couldn't have been more wrong. Over the next few weeks, I watch Mark's breathing grow increasingly effortful. He can't even get a full breath in when he lays on his right side, and his vision's fading. Of course, I just found out that the surgery needed to help him hasn't yet been approved for AIDS patients. So right now, my mind is never quiet. I can't stop imagining one dire scenario after another. It's gotten to the point where I fantasize that he has lung cancer. Because honestly, that seems like a more hopeful diagnosis than AIDS. The rumors are appalling, and the facts are worse. When I come home from the hospital, I turn on the TV and I see President Reagan's chief spokesman publicly spouting off about how nature is extracting its price on the homosexuals. The belief that we are getting what we deserve is so widespread that, you know, I think the AIDS issue is rarely even darkening the chambers of the Oval Office. But I'm not part of a community that's simply going to lay down and die. If the government's going to pretend we don't exist, we'll find our own way. But me? Oh, I'm mad as hell. I want to dump buckets of sheep's blood on the White House lawn, to spit in the faces of those cops with their yellow gloves and the support staff in hospitals who will not even bring trays of food into the rooms of patients with AIDS. You know, it's funny. I still feel as mad as I did back then. I still have friends who tell me I've been too AIDS-related. Lighten up, they say. I still keep the photos of Mark and I in my apartment, and I've remained in therapy for years. I know no one within the AIDS community who hasn't suffered from PTSD, because yes, we fought. No. The despair isn't gone. Now any hope of a relationship I have with a man is fraught. I find myself asking, are you tested? Are you positive? And for comfort, Well, all I can do is remember what I told Mark when he was in a coma. Shh. Hey. There's no doubt that you are dying, my love. You know, the newspapers are reporting on AIDS victims, but you are no victim. I promise to stay engaged in what looks to be a very long fight. I know you can't see it, but the sea is so quiet tonight, my love. And the sea has remained quiet for every night since.
The room is bright and alive at 8:45 a.m. I can almost ignore Middleborough High School's zombie fluorescent lighting. To my left is Jenna Rowland, the coolest girl in class.
I heard Christine Canigula has a new stalker.
My head's turned, so they must not think I'm listening, but I'm always listening.
Yeah, I heard he even wrote her a letter.
I didn't write her a letter. I can't even talk to Christine. I just think about her a lot and look at her because, well, she's beautiful. Most high school students would do anything to impress their crush, but how far are you willing to go? When sci-fi and comedy meet, Jeremy here answers this question in Be More Chill by Ned Vizzini. At lunch, I seek out my best friend, Michael Mell. Big problems. What, with Christine? You wussing out again? Well, yeah, it's like, do I still give her this chocolate Shakespeare, or will it seem too stalkerish?
Jeremy, that chocolate Shakespeare is genius. She's gonna love chocolate because everybody does, and she's in a Shakespeare play with you, so obviously she's gonna like Shakespeare.
But what if I seem like an obsessed loser?
Think of how you'll feel tonight having missed your chance.
Right, I'll feel like shit.
Right, so give it to her.
Yo, tall ass! Could you maybe move from the garbage can? Rich has come to the scene, doing what he does best. Michael moves and Rich dumps his whole tray, including the actual tray, into the garbage can. What? Punks! Mr. Gretsch gets up on stage behind a microphone, which he does not need. I'm glad to have such a captive audience for my voice and such a wonderful cast for this play. Now, I'm going to read everyone's parts and see who is here. Jeremy here. You must know you've gotten the role of Lysander. Puck, where's my Puck? Christine Canigula.
I got Puck? Are you kidding?
Don't get too excited, Christine. It's a disgusting number of lines. I grab a seat next to Christine in the circle. Congratulations on Puck. I'm Jeremy, by the way. So, did you hear anything about me writing you a letter?
I know who you are, Jeremy, and you didn't give me any letter. Are you happy?
Oh. I guess I should be pissed, right? Well, I'm weirdly relieved. It's like, this is how the world works for me, and what do you know, it worked again. You want to talk to a girl? Sure, Rich, of course I do. You know, I could get any girl in the school to come over and kiss me. I don't doubt it. You seem to do okay with all the girls at our school. Watch this. Rich walks across the floor and starts talking to a girl named Samantha. After about a few minutes, she comes over and kisses him. After about a minute of that, he comes back to me. See, that's pimpin', but not real pimpin'. I got a squip. You need a squip, man. You need it more than anyone I've ever known. Rich, what's a squip? It's a super cool pill from Japan. It's not drugs, Jeremy. It's better than drugs. It's a supercomputer that fits inside a pill. You take it, goes straight to your brain, tells you how to be cool all the time. I was a loser, and my squip fixed that. Oh. Well, then where can I get one? You get one. Through me. Welcome to Squip 2.5. Calibration and access procedure in progress. Hello, Jeremy. Hey, it's working! Yes, it's working. It has a lot to do by the look of things. You desire a complete behavior overhaul. With certain modifications to your daily procedure, you will become cooler than you've ever imagined. It's weird now, like I automatically know what's going on. People pass me in the hallway and fill me in on everything that's happening. Anne did this, Jenna did that, this party this weekend, this kid has herpes. And they view me as a superior. Small things, that's what the squib is fixing. You walk with your chest out, you view high school as this deathmatch jungle arena because, well, that's what it is. Christine, hey, could I get your number? We could talk about whatever, please?
Oh, Jeremy, wow. Well, you have to promise not to be a dick, and me giving you my number is an automatic excuse to have sex with me. We're just friends, okay?
Squip finally revealed its plan this week. I stopped the play in the middle, confessed my love to Christine, and I'll kiss her under the lights.
Through force I have gone, but Athenian I have found none.
Okay. Hi, excuse me. My name is Jeremy here, and I'm a student in this play. And the thing that's been keeping me going this week is the work of the lovely Christine Canigula. She looks at me with a combination of disbelief and hate. I've never seen her look that way before. I've liked Christine for a while now, but I've never been able to do anything about it, so Christine, will you go out with me? And without waiting for an answer, I close my eyes and I lean forward to kiss her. Laughter rings out from across the audience. Loser. I wish I had something to say, some comeback. But I don't.
Jeremy, what the hell were you thinking?
Listen, it wasn't me, okay? I have a squip. It's a supercomputer. It tells me how to be cool, and it's been in my brain, and it told me to get with Christine during the play.
Squips? Dude, squips are evil technology. There's a reason it's not legal.
Yeah, well, it was working fine. It just didn't work today. Jeremy, I'm sorry. I'm badly programmed. Get version 4.0 when it comes out. I'm depreciated. Yeah. Well, that doesn't help now. You ruined my life. You're not supposed to say this stuff. You're supposed to say it's gonna be okay, and you're supposed to tell me how to fix it.
Dude, tell Christine, okay? Tell her like you told me. Maybe if she hears why you did it, she might understand.
No, she won't. No, girls don't understand anything. They don't understand it when I like them or when I hate them or when I fear them uncontrollably.
Listen, just tell her the whole story.
I don't even remember the whole story. I do. I remember every second of it. I can tell Christine that it was all my fault. Okay. Okay, then, write a book. Write it from my head. Make sure everything is in there, and well, she doesn't like it. And she doesn't like me. So here you go, Christine. It's not a letter, it's a whole book. I really hope you like it.
It was a night like any other night in the city. Hot and sticky. Great weather if you're a bug. Everyone's a bug in Motham City. Some good, some bad. Bad bugs are my business. I was sitting in my office, eating some aphid lo mein when the phone buzzed. Ace Lacewing. Bug detective. It was Mayor Busby. Ace, I'm at the hive with Princess Pollen. Queenie Bee's been kidnapped. Get over here now. Queenie Bee? Kidnapped? Everyone loved Queenie and her sister, Princess Pollen. And Ace Lacewing, is on the case. Keeping Motham City safe from all bad bugs is no easy task, but with the help of his friends, will Ace be able to save Queenie Bee, and will justice be served? Find out in Ace Lacewing Bug Detective by David B. Drzicki. I was just about to fly out the door when I saw her standing there, like a moth drawn to a flame. She was the rare, lovely, beautiful butterfly, Xerxes Blue, Dr. Xerxes Blue, the kind of doctor who studies bugs, dead bugs. Hey, AC, how about dinner at my place tonight? Just you and me. I'm making your favorite aphids a la mode. The aphids will have to stew, sweetheart. Queenie Bee's in a honey of a jam. Downtown, the traffic was crawling. That's what traffic does in Motham City. It really crawls. Hey, Asa, I've been looking for you. It was Sergeant Zito, the mosquito. What you know, Zito? Well, we have a couple of witnesses, but none of them are talking except for this little maggot. I saw the whole thing. I was crawling around minding my own business when all of a sudden I looked up and I saw a couple of honey bugs running off with Queenie Bee. Asa, you believe this maggot? How could they have seen anything? He doesn't have eyes. I told Zito to round up suspects. There were plenty of bugs waiting to be questioned, and everyone had an alibi. We decided to call it a night. As we left the station, "Hey, Lacewing," a voice whispered from the shadows. "I know who got Queenie, and why. Who are you?" A drone who knows the truth, but there are too many eyes and antenna around here. Let's go someplace we can talk in private. We never got the chance. It happened as quick as a cricket. A drive-by gashing. Vroom, vroom. Brrr. Hit the dirt. It was no doubt a stink bug. I could tell by the smell. I wondered if he had a license to pass gas. I checked the bee. He wasn't moving, but he was trying to say something. Come closer. Closer. Al, the drone. Al the drone? Al the drone? Oh no, not Al the drone! Please, anybody but Al the drone! Who's Al the drone? Al the drone owns Drone Honeyworks. Some bugs say he has a sticky little mandibles and more than just honey. I say we pay Mr. Drone a visit. Zito and I took off across town. Outside of Drone Honeyworks, savage mantis kept guard. As we crawled around the back of the building, I peered through a window, and what I saw made my antenna quiver. In the shadows, someone was tied up and blindfolded. Esa, we got company. One of the mantis had followed us. He didn't look too happy, and neither were we when he tied us up and carried us inside. He toted us through rows and rows of honeycomb, and standing in the shadows was Al the drone. Well, 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 if it ain't little Lacewing and his blood-sucking friend. I know you got Queenie here, drone. You'll never get away with this. Funny. That's the same thing Queenie said to me. And look where she is now. Queenie was stuffed in a honeycomb, alive, but not for long. Wait, then who was the bug in the back room? All this made my head spin. I tried to put the facts together, but they wouldn't fit. Who was the mystery bug? And why did Jerome smell of pollen? Pollen! That was it! Any last words, Lacewing? Yeah. Since when do drones gather pollen? Huh? You're clever, Lacewing. Clever, clever, clever. But Princess of Pollen? Oh, mamma mia! In the exoskeleton. But why? Because I'm sick of just being princess. I want to be queen. It's always been Queenie be this and Queenie be that. I'll never have my own hive with her around. So, I'm making it look like Sleazy Al the drone got rid of her. You guessed it, Lacewing. That's him tied up in the back room. With Queenie and Drone Honeyworks gone, I'll be queen of this town. You're in a rather sticky situation, Lacewing. So see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. Take them away! She signaled the mantis to Sheelish and Honeycombs. I had to think fast. Something fluttered above, so I shouted the only thing that can make a mantis run for cover. Bat! They threw us high in the air. We soared until whatever was flying above snatched us. I was still up for those aphids, AC. He wasn't a bat. It was Xerxes. She had rounded up every cop and brought them to Drone Honeyworks. No! I want to be queen! New on Motham Buzz. Queenie Bee saved. Mayor Busby leads SWAT team. And Princess Pollen is arrested for the kidnapping of Queenie Bee. On top of it all, a maggot claims he saw the kidnapping take place. More soon on Motham Buzz.
It all happened on a morning, just like any other, in the super happy magic forest. Gnomes fished, fairies fluttered, and unicorns frolicked. But something was brewing in the blue skies above. What started as a ripple soon became a dark portal, lit up by bolts of lightning crackling from deep within. And just before it totally vanished, ice creams were ripped from hooves, lollipops plucked from mouths. The citizens became panicked and began to run for cover. In a mystical woodland village called the Super Happy Magic Forest, there lived many magical creatures. However, as we've all been taught by places such as Hogwarts, Narnia, and Wonderland, is that with every magical world full of happiness, there's always bound to be something that literally just ruins it. And that's what happens when a mysterious creature shows up to the Super Happy Magic Forest. And it is up to the village heroes to find the source of the mysterious trouble happening in the Super Happy Magic Forest and the Portals of Panic by Maddie Long. Meanwhile, in a cottage nearby, two gnomes sat for a waffle breakfast. Gnome Duff, an older, wiser gnome, and Herbert, a younger gnome, and one of the village heroes. But suddenly, Shoo! Get back, scoundrel! I have a broom, and I am not afraid to use it! Gnome Duff, quick! Open the cupboard so I can trap it! Gnome Duff opened up the cupboard as Herbert flung a stray waffle inside, trapping the beast. I got it! As if on cue, the front door swung open, revealing Tiddlywink, the head of the Council of Happiness, and Blossom, one of the other village heroes. We're hearing reports of candy-based carnage, winged beasts, and swirling black holes. What in the name of cheesecake is going on up in her? Gnome Duff and Herbert told Blossom and Tiddlywink all about the chaos that morning.
This is no mere gremlin in that cupboard. Herbert, Blossom, I fear that the village needs your help once again. Take that beast to Wizard City and find Frederico Fourhats. He is the wisest wizard there is, and he will know what to do.
Now, Duff, you seem to know a lot about this, wizard business. You're going with them.
Me? But cities are no place for an gnome like me.
But eventually, Gnome Duff agreed, and the three made their way on to Wizard City, along with the beast they named Chompy. Just before they got there, however, Gnome Duff slipped on a disguise. Gnome Duff, why are you wearing that?
Shh, be quiet, Blossom. From now on, heroes, I am Beardus the Clever, the traveling wizard.
The Wizard City gates opened up, revealing Frederico Fourhats, the head of the Wizard City Council.
I am Frederico Fourhats. State your business. I am Beardus the Clever, and we have come to you because strange creatures are emerging through portals and wreaking havoc throughout the super happy magic forest.
Impossible! Only a wizard with a summoning stone can open a portal, and my great-grandfather destroyed the last one ages ago.
Well then, how do you explain this?
A portal creature? It cannot be! Impossible! Suddenly, Blossom felt Chompy's leash rip from her grip, and he knocked over Gnome Duff.
Beardus the Clever, revealing his true identity.
Gnome Duff, the wizard who was banished from Wizard City? Are you trying to destroy another great spectacular with pretend portal beasts? Guards, take him to the Wizard City prison.
Gnome Duff, no! You bring him back right now! Do not worry about me, my friends. Seek out the great library, discover the truth, and save the super happy magic forest.
Herbert, I guess this is the old library Gnome Duff was talking about. The books are so old, and the language is too complicated. I don't understand any of it.
Well, how about this? Portals for dum-dums. Yeah, we definitely need that. Let's see. Lesser gargoyle, greater gargoyle, mega gargoyle. What if one of those comes through the portal? We'll all be doomed.
That is quite enough. I think you've been spending way too much time with that fool Gnome Duff. I will not be questioned by a traveling circus of simpletons. As of now, Herbert had only been grabbing books within his reach, and for a gnome, that meant the bottom two shelves. So he grabbed a nearby rake and tried to knock one of the books off one of the taller shelves. But instead of the book falling, the wall disappeared, revealing a secret staircase. Herbert tiptoed up the stairs into a dark room with an ominous glow coming from the center. Could it be a summoning stone? The very last one, to be precise. It would be foolish to throw away such power, and I will unleash it at tomorrow's great spectacular. Suddenly, Herbert felt himself being sucked through a portal and into Gnome Duff's cell in the Wizard City prison, and Blossom was already there.
Gnome Duff, Blossom, we've got to go! Let's make a run for it!
The three made a mad dash towards the front of the prison and towards the Great Spectacular. But by the time they got there, it was already too late. The Great Spectacular was already beginning, and Frederico was standing center stage with the summoning stone in his hands. Time to whip up your devastation.
Why, Frederico? Why are you doing this?
Because, Gnome Duff, I have never won a Great Spectacular, and it is all your fault. Before you were banished, you were never a fair judge, but I have mastered portal magic like no other. Behold, my greatest creation yet, the Mega Gargoyles! Frederico summoned up a portal, unleashing all of the Mega Gargoyles he could muster. They began wreaking havoc throughout the Wizard City. Blossom had a brilliant idea, and she called up
the most mysterious wizard she knew.
Wiz Pop, it's me, Blossom. You need to help us or we'll all be doomed. You can make waffles out of magic. I need you to make me the biggest one you can muster.
Wiz Pop made the biggest, tastiest, fluffiest waffle the world had ever seen. Blossom heaved the waffle onto her back and raced towards the portal with the weight of the world on her shoulders. The smell of the waffle sent the gargoyles into a craze. Blossom took a deep breath and heaved the waffle into the portal.
Gnomedoff, quick, close the portal with your staff.
I am on it. Gnomedoff took his trusty staff and sealed up the portal, along with all of the mega gargoyles inside of it. What happened? Is it all over? Yes, it is over thanks to you, my dear friends. It is all over thanks to you. Now, don't you two usually have a special way of celebrating these sorts of victories? We sure do! Victory pose!
I don't want to do this. Not now. It's far too soon. They expect me to stand up in front of a room full of people and tell them a meaningful story of what Henry was like and how he impacted me. I mean, don't they realize the feelings I'm suffering right now? God, if there even is a God, help me get through this. If anyone can actually hear me up there, then please help me get through this. On September 11th, 2001, 50,000 people were employed in the North and South Towers of the World Trade Center. When the hijacked planes of the attack at the towers, only 20,000 unlucky souls were busy working at their desks. Some people argued that it was our almighty God who spared those 30,000 other lives. So does this mean he was also responsible for the 20,000 people who lost their lives? After her husband's death in the 9/11 attack, Alana Owens begins to question the entire existence of God. Here, Alana releases her bottled-up feelings and battles her faith in God, If You're Really Out There, by Cynthia Ribezel. Hi, I'm Alana, Henry's wife. Henry and I were together since junior year of high school. He was on the debate team and I was on the school newspaper. I was covering the debate team state tournament, which Henry was competing in for an article, and in between rounds I managed to get an interview with him. As cliche as it may seem, we clicked. And as we got to know each other, we learned that our interests were on completely different levels. While I had a crazy high school obsession with Brad Pitt, Henry had a crazy high school obsession with the Alakazam Pokemon. He still does. Eventually, after college graduation, he proposed, and looking back on all those memories makes me realize how much we went through. And now it's gone. For a week now, I've been sitting alone in the apartment, and all of Henry's things still sit in the exact same place that he left them. His checkbook, which he had forgotten to take to work, still sits on the kitchen counter. And the shirt that he'd worn the night before the attack still hangs on the bedpost. And you can still smell the cologne on it. Even his half-eaten Pop-Tart, great breakfast by the way, still sits on the kitchen table, and everything reminds me of him. I still feel as though he's going to come walking through the door at any moment now, but I know that he never will. It's just me now. And what have I got to believe in anymore? God? This guy on the cross, what has he done? You know, I've never been that much of a religious person. Growing up, my parents and I only attended church on holidays. We didn't pray, we didn't sing religious songs, but I still believed that there was something at a higher power. I still believed that there was something else beyond all of this, but now I don't really know what to believe. We were having a great morning. Henry was so excited about this idea that he was going to pitch a corporate, and he had kissed me goodbye and left for work. If only I knew it would be the last time I'd ever see him, ever feel him, ever hear him. Couldn't God have warned me somehow? Anyway, at about 8:30 a.m., I got a call from Henry. And he was telling me that corporate had loved his idea and was planning to use it. And I remember thinking to myself, we're really going to make it. We have such a good future ahead of us. And we hung up. But literally no more than 20 minutes later, my phone began ringing again. And it was Henry. However, this time the only sounds I heard was the sound of his breathing, and it was slow and raspy, as if something was stuck in his throat. But then he spoke my name, and I knew something was wrong. But before I could say anything, the sounds of sirens echoed from the streets, and I looked out the window, and black, endless smoke filled the sky. And I turned on the news to find dark smoke flooding from the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Henry's office, and I begged Henry to tell me if it was all right. I begged him. And when he finally spoke, he said, "Alana, I love you." But before I could respond, the line was cut, causing me to only hear the dial tone. And I looked at the TV, and I saw the tower slowly begin to fall, floor by floor by floor. Each passing second murdered me more and more, piece by piece. How could someone so marvelous be killed by something so dreadful? On the internet, I read stories about how God delayed people who worked in the World Trade Center from being to work on time. Like, for example, this one lady's alarm clock didn't go off, so she wasn't there on time, avoiding the disaster. For another guy, it was his day to bring donuts, but I guess he got to eat them all by himself. One man got a blister on his way to work, so he stopped by at a drugstore to buy a Band-Aid. I mean, if these stories really are God's doing, then he prevented about 30,000 people from being to work on time, resulting in their lives being spared. Then why couldn't Henry be one of those 30,000? Where was God for Henry? You know, if Henry were here, he'd probably scold me for only worrying about him. He was a sweetheart. Knowing him, he probably would have wanted me to be happy that those 30,000 lives were even spared at all. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am happy for the people who are still alive today, but Henry's not alive. God, if you really are out there, you owe me a favor. I mean, I think I deserve that much. Just tell Henry one thing for me, please. I love you too.
Jamal, where are you? I've sent you 5 texts. Call me. Hey, it's me again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get angry. Just call me, please. Why won't when he pick up the phone? Hey, Jeffrey, this is Jamal's mother. Jamal hasn't come home, and I thought he might be with you. And if he is with you, please have him call me. My number is 305-468-5900. One night in a police station, Kendra Ellis Connor is waiting for a police report on where her biracial son Jamal is. She asks for help from a police officer who can't seem to tell her much about the incident. American Son grapples with bias, prejudice, fear, family relationships, and identity as a part of the unmentioned founding father, racism. American Son, a 2019 film adaptation of the play American Son by Christopher Demos Brown. So, I'm Officer Larkin, and a Jewish chick like you asked, and the car does show up. It shows up in the system. That's all we really know right now. Just let me get something. Name again. Jamal. Jamal. Last name Connor. 6'2", 180, 185. Glasses, cornrows, and his light green eyes. Any priors? Has he been arrested before? I completely understand your concern, miss. We're gonna find out where Jerome is. His name is Jamal. And do you have any sons in police custody at 4 o'clock in the morning? Because respectfully, officer, I don't think you do. Understand your tense. Understand this must be upsetting for you. Look, you keep saying I understand. I have a PhD in psychology. I know when I am being managed. While most mothers can get rational and go back to sleep at night, I can't. Because I still have nightmares. Whoa! I'm not managing you. I was just trying to be nice. I'll go check the computers again and see if I can get a little more information for you. Jamal, it's me again, honey. I'm sorry. We both said a lot of things that we shouldn't have last night, and I'm really starting to get nervous. So can you please call me? So, I got some more information for you. It's not a lot. Your son was identified as a vehicle occupant at a traffic stop in your Lexus. And I also confirmed that there were 2 other black males on the vehicle when it was stopped. Sean Roll and Jarvis Spell. I also decided to give your son's social media account a quick look over, and he decided to post something on Instagram, a photo of a bumper sticker that says, "Shoot cops with your camera phone whenever they make a bust." You know what? I've sat around here for hours, and you couldn't tell me a damn thing except how to go on a self-guided Jim Crow tour through the building. That's all the information that's in the system right now. And I wasn't even supposed to tell you that. There's a bumper sticker that raises some concerns. So please, calm down. Calm down? My son is missing! He's the only biracial person most of the kids at his school know, and it's coming at him from both sides. All of his friends think he represents the entire race. I'll tell you what he calls it. The face of the race. You have to understand that Jamal is going through an awakening to this. Philandro Castile and Eric Garner and Tamir Rice. Every time it happens, he feels the world closes in on him a little. There's an immense pressure on him. That's what this all is about. The bumper sticker, it's a rebellion. And all I want to know is if my son is okay. Oh, yes. I understand. Your son was identified as a vehicle occupant, and yeah, that turned into an incident. I'll give you a moment. Traffic stop, Lexus, pulled over, oh, they don't know if it was a ricochet or not, but a stray bullet strikes Jamal Connor in the head, killing him instantly. No. He was just a baby. He was my baby. I just want to hold him one more time. I just want to see his light green eyes one more time.
Sweetheart.
Good night, Mom.
Simulation terminated.
The door! You left it wide open, and that is the worst mistake an employee can make because...
It could let in a draft. It could let in a child! There's nothing more toxic or deadly than a human child. You're going in there because we need this. Without screams, we have no power. I need scarers who are tough, confident, intimidating. I need scarers like James P. Sullivan.
Wow.
In a world where screams are power,
Monsters, Inc. is the most successful scream processing factory.
In order to collect these screams for power, monsters travel through magical doors that lead to the human world.
During a scream energy crisis, Mr. Waternoose, the owner, will do anything to save his company.
Even resorting to evil means.
When a human child somehow gets into the factory...
it's up to best friends Mike
and Sully
to get her back home in
Monsters, Inc.
Screenplay by Andrew Stanton and Dan Gerson.
Wake up, Sully!
Mikey, I didn't ask for a wake-up call.
Hey, let's talk more pain, Marshmallow Boy. Scarefy. Kids awake. Kids asleep. Come on, fight that plaque. Fight that plaque. Scare monsters do not have plaque. All right, let's go.
Mikey, we gotta walk to work today. There's a scream shortage.
Oh, no.
Oh, come on. You could use the exercise. Butterball.
Monsters, Inc., please hold.
Hey, it's the Sulster!
Jerry!
Oh, schmoopsie poo.
Googly Bear!
Happy birthday.
Oh, Googly Boogly, you remembered! Hey, Sully Wully.
Oh, hey, Celia Wheelia. Happy birthday.
Thanks. So, are we going anywhere special tonight?
Oh, I just got us into a little place called Harryhausen.
Shut up!
You know, pal, she is the one.
I'm happy for you.
Wazowski!
Oh!
Wow, it scares little kids and little monsters.
I wasn't scared. I have allergies.
I'm in the zone today, Sullivan. Putting up some big numbers. Do you hear that? It's the winds of change.
What a creep.
Ugh.
Roz, my succulent little garden snail. And who will we be scaring today?
Wazowski, you didn't file your paperwork last night.
Oh,
Don't let it happen again. I'm watching you, Wazowski. Always watching.
All scare floors are now active. Assistants, please report to your stations.
Hey, may the best monster win.
I plan to. We are on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh, feeling good today, Mikey.
Attaboy, another door coming right up.
You're so behind, Randall.
Just get me another door.
A door, yes, a door.
Well, Jerry, what's the damage so far?
We've shredded 58 doors this week, sir.
Kids these days, they just don't get scared like they used to.
Sir.
What?
Look.
Attention, we have a new scare leader, Randall Boggs. Never mind.
If I don't see a new door at my station in 5 seconds, I will personally put you through the shredder.
2319!
2319! Red alert!
Red
alert! Human sock! Hold still!
Human sock terminated.
All clear.
Thanks, guys. That was a close one.
Come with me.
Mr. Waternoose, I know we're going through a tough time in the company right now, but everyone knows you'll get us through it.
James, this company's been in my family for 3 generations. I will do anything to keep it from going under. I could use your help with something.
Anything, sir.
You see, we've recently hired some new scare recruits, and frankly, well, they all stink.
Oh.
Maybe come by tomorrow. Show them what it takes to be a top scarer, huh?
Sure thing.
You know, I am so romantic sometimes. I think I might just marry myself.
Give me a break.
Oh, it's just that face of hers, pal. It just makes my heart go. Oh, yikes!
Fun-filled evening tonight, Ho Wazowski.
Yeah.
I'm sure you filed your paperwork. Your stunned silence is very reassuring.
The scare reports, if I don't leave in 5 minutes, they'll give our table away.
Hey, Googly Bear, you want to get going?
Well, do I ever? It's just...
What?
It's just that Mike was reminding me of some paperwork I forgot to fill out.
I was?
You were.
I mean, I was.
Oh, okay. Let's go then.
Paperwork. Hello? Psst. Anybody scaring out there?
Bill!
Ah!
Kitty!
Stay back!
Oh, Googly Bear.
Oh, schmoopsie poo.
You know, Michael, I've had a lot of birthdays, but this is the best birthday ever.
I was just thinking about the first time I laid eye on you.
Stop it.
Hey, guys.
Sully?
Coincidence seeing you here.
Michael.
Sully, what are you doing here?
I was back to get your paperwork, and there was a door. I thought I saw Randall there.
Oh, that cheater. He's trying to boost his numbers.
There's something else.
What?
Bill!
If witnesses are to be believed, there has been a child security breach for the first time in monster history.
We can neither confirm nor deny the presence of a human child here tonight.
A kid flew right over my head and blasted a car with its laser vision.
I tried to run from it, but it picked me up with its mind powers and shook me like a dog.
It is my professional opinion that it's now time to panic.
Well, that day could not have gone any worse. At least we're home.
Bill!
Oh my gosh, it's coming, it's coming.
Kitty?
Hey, like the teddy bear?
That's it. No one touches little Mikey. Give it. Oh.
What was that?
I don't know, but it would be really nice if it didn't do it again. Listen. I think I have a plan. Using mainly spoons, we dig a tunnel underneath the city and release it into the wild.
Spoons?
That's it. I'm out of ideas. We are doomed.
Hey, shh. Mikey, I don't think this kid's so dangerous after all.
Oh, that's great. I always wanted a pet. That could kill me.
What if we just put her back in her door?
What?
It'd be like nothing ever happened.
That is a horrible idea. What are we gonna do? Just waltz right up to the factory? Ding! I cannot believe you're waltzing right up to the factory, Sully. A mop on her head is not going to fool anybody.
Don't panic. We can do this. Code 44.
Is that DNA on
We
this
have
report?
code 44. Don't panic.
Don't tell me not to panic! Okay, the coast is clear. Listen, you stay here with that thing.
Yeah.
While I go get the paperwork, okay? Stay here. Roz, my tender blossom, may I just say you're looking, fabulous today. Well, listen, Randall was working late last night, and I could really use the key to the door he had.
Well, isn't that nice? But guess what? You still haven't filed your paperwork.
He didn't.
This
I
office is
no
now
paperwork.
closed.
Ah!
Fungus! Randall, thank goodness. What are we gonna do about the child?
Will you be quiet? I was up all night trying to find it.
I did some simple calculations, and the child may have escaped.
Yeah? Well, we're gonna act like nothing happened. You get the machine up and running, and I'll take care of the kid. Why are you still here?
I'm not here.
This is bad. This is so very bad.
What were they talking about? A machine?
Oh, who cares?
You got her key card, right?
Yeah, sure. All right, here we go.
Mike, this isn't her door.
Hey, looks like fun in there. Very good, kid. All right, bon voyage. Let's go.
Mike! This isn't Boo's door.
Boo? You know, once you put a name on it, You start getting attached to it. So you're gonna put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. You let it get away again.
Wait, I think she went this way. Oh, Mike, I followed her to the trash compactor, and look!
So that's a cube of garbage. Uh-oh.
Well, hello there. What's your name?
Mike Wazowski.
Oh, I can still hear her little voice!
Wazowski.
Hey, I can hear her too.
Mike Wazowski.
How many kids you got in there?
Kitty.
Boo! Don't you ever run away from me again, young lady. But I'm just so glad you're okay.
Mike Wazowski.
Yeah, kids, step out of the way. We're in a...
Will you stop making Boo laugh?
I didn't, okay? Come on, I'll go get her door.
Last night was one of the worst nights of my entire life, bar none. I thought you cared about me.
Honey, please, I just...
Wazowski.
Whoa!
Michael, Mike!
You little one-eyed cretin.
It's cretin if you're gonna threaten me. And listen, if you think kidnapping me is gonna help you scare your way to the top...
You still think that this is about that stupid scam record?
Well, I didn't until you chuckled like that.
I'm going to revolutionize the scaring industry. Even the great James P. Sullivan will be working for me. Where's the kid?
Oh, listen, I don't know anything.
Uh-huh, sure. Say hello to the scream extractor.
Well, hello. Hey, where are you going? Come on, we can talk about this.
Fungus, what happened?
I don't know. I calibrated the drive and...
Go fix the machine.
There must be something wrong with the scream intake valve.
Psst, Fungus.
Sorry, Wazowski. Randall said I'm not allowed to fraternize with victims of his evil plot. Oh, Randall.
Ah! Where's Wazowski? What happened?
Thanks for saving me, pal. He is crazy.
Listen, I've got Boo, and I've got a plan.
What?
Trust me, it's a great idea.
No.
Simulation terminated.
No. What was that? You're trying to scare the child, not lull it to sleep.
I was going for like a snake ninja approach, a little bit of hitsing.
Mr. Waternoose.
James, perfect timing. Pay attention, everyone. He's the best in business.
Mr. Waternoose, I don't have time for this. Listen.
Now, give us a big, loud roar.
Mr. Waternoose.
Good night, sweetheart.
Good night, Mom.
Come on. What are you waiting for? Roar. Well done, James.
Boo!
The child.
Listen, sir, I know it sounds crazy, but she's not toxic.
Oh, Boo, please. It was imaginary, like pretend or something. Oh, Boo!
He wanted to test it out on this poor little girl. Listen, sir, this is all Randall's fault.
Randall? How could this happen? Does anyone else know?
No, sir.
Good. Now, before we do anything else, let's take care of the child. Oh, I never thought things would come to this. I'm sorry you boys got mixed up in this. Especially you, James. But now, we can set everything straight for the good of the company.
Sir, this isn't her door.
I know. It's yours.
Whoa! Son of an Oogie! We're banished.
There's gotta be a way back. Where there's a scream,
there's a door.
Yeah.
Finally! I never should have trusted you with this. Because of you, I had to banish my top scarer.
With this machine, we won't need scarers.
Kitty.
Sullivan, how did you get back?
There's more than one door in the human world.
Stop him!
Let's get you home, Boo.
You don't know how long I've waited. Oh,
get up! There can't be any witnesses. Sullivan, give me the child.
Hey, now go.
That's gone far enough, James.
She's home now. Just leave her alone.
I've had enough of you, James. She's seen too much. Both of you have. Times have changed. Scaring isn't enough anymore.
But kidnapping children?
I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die.
No!
Good night, Mom.
Good night, sweetheart.
Simulation terminated.
What is this? What?
Let's rewind to my favorite part, shall we?
I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die.
All right, that's it. Come with me.
What are you doing? You can't arrest me. I hope you're happy, Sullivan. You've destroyed this company. The energy crisis will only get worse because of you.
Stay where you are.
Number 1 wants to speak to you.
Hello, boys.
Ross?
2.5 years of undercover work almost all went to waste. But without you two, I would have never realized things went all the way up to water news. Now, about the child.
I just want to send her home.
Very good. Bring me a door shredder.
You mean I can't see her again?
That's the way it has to be.
Well, kid, I guess this is goodbye.
Mike Wazowski!
Very good, kid. Go on, go grow up.
Well, Boo,
Kitty!
Yes, very cute. Oh, no monsters are gonna scare you from your closet anymore. See? Goodbye, Boo.
Kitty!
Kitty has to go.
Bill! Kitty?
Not a word about this to anyone, gentlemen, and I don't want to see any paperwork on it.
Well, at least we got Bloom, right? Yeah, maybe the factory's in the toilet. Oh, and there'll be a scream shortage. But hey, at least we had some laughs, right?
Wait, did you say laughs?
Hey, it's, great to be here in your room. So, what do you call a cow with no legs, huh? Ground beef? Nothing? Okay. Thanks, kid. I'll be here all week. You know, it takes someone with perfect comedic timing to produce that much energy in one shot.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's got nothing to do with the fact that laughter is 10 times more powerful than scream.
Good job, Giggly Bear.
Oh, thanks. Hey, Sol, if you had a second, I wanted to show you something.
Mikey.
Come on, big guy. Close your eyes. Follow me.
Mikey, I don't have time for this.
All right.
Wait. Is that?
I'm sorry it took so long, pal. You know, it was a lot of wood to go through. But it only works if you have every piece.
Boo!
Kitty!
Well, it's almost over. We've gone to school together for 3 years and we've been through a lot. Now, we want to be happy, go to college, own a car, or maybe raise a family. But what if that doesn't happen? I have to be honest though. I have all the hope and ambition in the world. But when I think about the future, the truth is I am really scared.
Say anything.
Screenplay by Cameron Crowe.
Congrats, class of '89.
Woo!
They really applauded you today, honey.
You know, I was standing up there looking at everybody, and I felt like they didn't know me. Everybody thinks I'm a priss.
Don't say that. It's all working out for you, honey. You're gonna study at the finest institute in England, the toughest fellowship in the country.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to go on a plane.
All the years of summer school, all the vacations you gave up, it's all working out just the way we planned.
I love you, Dad.
I love you too, honey. Hey, you wanna drive?
No.
I love you, Joe.
I love you too.
You! Corey, please do everyone you love a favor and never talk to Joe.
You don't have to be so dramatic about it, Rebecca.
I was just simply stating.
I'm going to ask out Diane in court again.
That's unlikely.
The movies are a good second date.
But you never had a first date.
Yes, I did. I sat across from her at the mall. We ate together. You know, eating, sharing an important physical event.
Yeah, that's not a date.
Well, then what's a date?
A date is prearranged with a possibility for love.
That sounds good. I'm gonna call her.
I wouldn't get my hopes up, Lloyd.
You're just a really nice guy and we don't want to see you get hurt.
I want to get hurt.
Diane, I have something special for you.
Dad, this is ridiculous.
Now, this is the only thing your mother ever gave me that I kept. Now it's yours. Go ahead, open it.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
Bring, bring.
Hello?
Diane, are you free this Saturday?
Who is this?
Lloyd Dobler?
Oh, yeah, Saturday. I have some things to do.
What about tonight then? Are you going to that party at V's?
Actually, I think that I have, I'll go.
You will? Excellent! All right, this is great. You will? Really?
I'll go.
All right then. It's a date. I'll pick you up at 8 o'clock.
8. Goodbye.
Party!
Is it bad if I want to go home early?
Yeah! No, not at all.
Hi, Lloyd. Me.
He was my first love. My first everything, and the whole time he was cheating on me with that other girl. He'll never break up with her.
What's up? Diane, I'll meet you by the drinks. Joe Corey's written 65 songs. They're all about you. They're all about pain.
They'll never be me. They'll never be me.
Dude, why do you think I keep her tapes? They're gonna be valuable someday.
Just stop playing with her mind. She's a human being, Joe.
Whatever, man.
You know, I wish every guy was like Lloyd.
Yeah, he is pretty great.
Come here. I want to show you something.
You know, nobody knew me before tonight.
Well, they knew of you. Now they know you.
Yeah, but I feel like for the first time, I really fit in. I'm glad we did this.
Me too. So, it's just you and your dad, right?
Yeah, but it's a long story. You don't want to hear it.
I'm sure I do.
Well, my parents split up when I was 13, and I actually had to go to court and choose between the two of them. So I chose my dad. It just felt safer that way. But either way, it still feels...
Twisted?
I've never really gone out with a guy like you. Lloyd, I'm leaving for a fellowship at the end of the summer.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, I want to see you as much as I can before you leave.
Hey, do you want to come to my family dinner tomorrow?
Oh, sure. Yeah. See you then.
Lloyd is doomed. Diane made the second date a family audition, which is the kiss of death for Lloyd. Oh, and he's got that weird talking thing. We should probably just tell him not to talk.
Corey! Maybe Diane really likes Lloyd.
If you were Diane Court, would you honestly fall for Lloyd?
Yeah.
Ew!
She's not the world's greatest flyer, let me tell you. When she was 8 years old, she...
Dad!
Now why can't I tell the story?
Dad!
Stellar jukebox, sir.
Thanks, Lloyd.
How do you pay for one of those?
Well, it was only a matter of $9,000. So, Lloyd, what are your plans for the future?
You mean like a career? I don't know. Well, I don't want to buy, sell, or process anything as a career. I don't want to buy anything processed or sold, sell anything bought or processed, or process anything bought, processed, or sold, or prepare anything bought, processed, or sold. For a career, I don't want to do that. Lately, I've been doing kickboxing, which is really a new sport, but I think it's got a good future. As far as career longevity goes, hello?
Mr. James Court, I'm an agent of the Internal Revenue Service, and I'd like to inform you that you're under criminal investigation for the tax years 1982 through 1986. I have guests here. Understanding the following rights...
Speak with my lawyer!
Mr. Court, be aware that we will be contacting a number of your business associates and your former wife.
Mom, please.
Diane, I do have a history with this man. It isn't the greatest. I see you so seldom. I'd really rather know about
This
you.
is me telling you about me.
You know, I don't even know if you've got a young man in your life.
I just wonder what could be more important than what's going on with Dad.
If we could just talk about boys, everything would be so much easier. You know, your room is always ready for you. If you decide to come home, All right, what do you want me to do?
If they ask you questions, say something nice about him, Mom. Help him.
All right.
He fits the profile.
What profile?
Are there expensive things bought with cash?
Stellar jukebox, sir. How do you pay for one of those? Okay, now this is important.
Am I wrecking my car?
Yeah, a little bit. Look, when you feel it start to give, put the clutch in.
Okay.
Little faster. Ease it up. Now you feel confident, right?
Yeah.
Now go into second.
Okay.
Little more gas. And...
You
want to get out of here?
The Cynthia Branson estate was worth how much? Because her family was
What family? We never heard from them. I sold their house for them.
Your income, Mr. Court, hasn't changed in 17 years.
That's right.
Why would you stay so long with an operation that is so clearly not a growth enterprise?
Taking care of people in a retirement home isn't a growth enterprise, Mr. Sims. I hope you read that down in your report. I'd like your bosses to read it.
I'll be back, Mr. Court.
Morning.
Dad, I'm sorry.
You should be.
I was irresponsible. I should have called.
You bet you should have called. You still live at home. Don't make me call the police at 3:30 in the morning. Don't make me call hospitals. I just want to know that you're all right.
Dad, I'm fine.
You want to make things easier on me? Tell me where you were. You can say anything to me.
I know, I spent the night with him.
Lloyd?
Dad, yes. And I'm scared to death of what you must think of me right now. We've started spending all this time together as friends. And yesterday, he started to get that look at the end of the night. Do you know that look? But I didn't want any problems, so I decided not to sleep with him. But then I attacked him anyway. Oh, it always was good to tell you the truth.
Did you sleep with her?
I admit nothing.
Lloyd, it's us. Look at his face. He did the deed.
All right, calm down. Nothing's different.
Lloyd, everything has changed. No matter what you think, nothing will ever be the same between you two.
Diane, your ticket to England came today.
Dad, maybe I shouldn't go with all that's happening to you.
You're going.
It doesn't feel right to me.
Stop!
It's bad. Why are you acting this way? Is this because of Lloyd?
What do you have in common? You're gonna be a part of an international think tank, and he's gonna be off kicking punching bags somewhere. I just think you should break up with him.
This is unbelievable.
Diane, I'm not asking you to sever all relations with this boy. Here, give him a present. Let him know you still care. Give him this, this pen.
Dad, in a million years, I would never give him a pen. What's wrong with having some fun? I like him.
I like him, Diane. I'm talking about being honest with people, being decent,
Dad!
being...
I love him.
I want you to have everything. Is that wrong? No. I owe you an apology. It's just I've only got so many weeks left with you.
You've got to do something special.
Wait a minute.
Gotta show her that you're not like Joe.
Wait a minute. You never let me talk.
Okay, talk.
Let him do what he wants.
Lloyd, write her a letter. Send her flowers. Something.
I already did. Here, read it.
Dear Diane, I'll always be there for you. All the love in my heart, love, Lloyd. Aww. I've never gotten a letter like this. Have you?
I dream about it.
So, what do you think?
Get ready for greatness, Lloyd.
I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just... They think I'm guilty.
I'm so sorry, Dad.
I love you, Diane.
We believe that your father operates in a large pool of cash containing phony billings, phony patients. Now, does he buy you expensive gifts?
You're trying to trick me into saying something.
When his patients die, he takes their money. He is guilty. Diane, this is going to get worse.
Your letter came. It was wonderful.
I wanted to put something else in the letter, but I didn't have time, so
You don't
I
have
just
to
wanted to say
it.
I love you. I said it.
How can I look at you and say this?
Say what?
I think that we should spend some time apart.
Did you just break up with me?
No, we're friends.
We shared the most intimate thing two people could share. Is this about your dad?
Don't bring my dad into this.
Then why are you doing this?
Just take this pen, please, and write me.
Lloyd, man, no babe is worth it, you know? Hang with me, man, I'll teach you.
I got a question. If you know so much about women, how come you're stuck here on a Saturday night at the Gas and Sip completely alone?
Choice, man. Conscious choice.
Diane trusted me myself. I gave her my heart and she gives me a pen? She won't even tell me why.
You gotta get her out of your head, man. Name a babe. Any babe in town, and I'll set you up with her.
Diane Court.
Dude, I can't do it.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Chill, man. Hey, I'm breaking up with Mimi, and I wanted to know if you wanted to get back together. Kiss me.
No, Joe. Goodbye.
Bring, bring.
Hello?
Diane? I've thought about everything and decided to give you another chance. But the letter I wrote you, Rip it up. It hurts me to know that it's out there.
Lloyd?
Diane?
What?
We've been investigating your father for 5 years. I'm sorry to be the one to have to tell you this. Take that fellowship. We have proof.
What happened to you?
Did you take that money?
Sweetheart, no. Don't be ridiculous.
Swear to God, I need to know the truth.
Honey, it's not what you think.
You stole from them. You lied to me. How do you think that's supposed to make me feel?
You think you know all that money is?
Yes, I...
No! You don't know what it is. This money isn't for me. This money's for you. For when you come back from England, so you don't have to depend on anybody again. Diane, I take better care of these people than their families do. I care for them.
You stole from them.
I made their lives better.
I trusted you. In court 5 years ago, I picked you.
Be careful how mad you make me. I'm the only dad you've got.
I'm so ashamed, Dad.
Don't say that. It's not good for you.
You're right. In your eyes, the light, the heat. In your eyes, I am complete. In your eyes, I see the doorway to 1,000 churches. I'll always be there for you. All the love of my heart. Love. Lloyd. Lloyd?
Diane?
I'm sorry. My father's guilty, and he lied to me. He lied to everybody. He's going to prison, and I don't know how long he's gonna be away. I need you.
You do?
Everything else means nothing to me. I love you.
What?
I love you. How many more times do I have to say it?
One more time would be nice.
I love you. Please. I love you.
I love you too. I brought her here to the prison, but she won't get out of the car. But she needs to talk to you.
Are you going to England with her?
I've thought about this a lot, and I finally decided what I want to do with my life. I want to be with your daughter. I'm good at it.
You're not a permanent part of her life. You're a distraction.
Well, then I'm the distraction that's going to England with her, sir.
I'm incarcerated, Lloyd. I don't deserve to lose my daughter over this. I don't deserve to have you as my go-between.
Hello.
Hi.
You could have told me the truth.
I'm so sorry.
I love you, Dad. Here. Take this pen. Write to me.
It's like a big roller coaster.
I'm fine.
If anything happens, it'd usually be between the first 5 and 10 minutes of flight. When you hear the smoking sign go ding, you know everything's gonna be all right.
Good to know.
Flight care from Corey and Rebecca. Books, cassettes, anything?
Not right now, thanks. Nobody thought we'd do this. Nobody really thinks it's going to work, do they?
No. But you just described every great success story.